can press this button, and then this button is going to go, and it's going to be a happy chapter. Everyone's going to be happy, so there we go. Boom. I should probably change the name of that stream. There we go, and it still hasn't changed the thumbnail, which is a bit awkward, but there we go. Thought I changed it last time. Pretty sure I nicked it off Thingamajig actually. Huh. Why don't I nick it? Well, that's going to be a problem for later me to solve. Which is my favourite kind of me, but there we go. Right. Yay, there we go. Whoa. Right. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. I think we only need a Southern Gujarat, and otherwise we should be fine. Hopefully TM trademarks all around. Otherwise there we go. But yeah, ping me as always if fires happen, but there we go. Whew, right. Let me set stuff up in a moment. Yeah, I really need to update that, but I mean, I guess I can do the poor man solution right now, which is in the chat, I believe, ages back. Someone made a fancy map of the thing. They did, which I can nick that map to save image as, and pictures. We'll call that background. There we go, which means we can go to you, we can click edit, we can click change, and that should be that. There we go. Right. There we go, in the new thumbnail you can calm down. You can't see the thumbnail until, yeah. Anyway, at least you shouldn't be. Not sure how that works. But yeah, no, I mean, if you want to give me engagement, I'll take engagement. Ah, right. We all love engagement. It's our favourite metric. But there we go. Right, finally getting back to this bundle of joy. And if he showed up, yeah, I did talk to him. He is coming. He is going to be on, well, not quite the Cusco attack, but on, I'm not going to pronounce this. Packages? I guess Packages is about as good as we'll get pronunciation-wise for that. But yeah, hopefully he can do fine there. There's not too much of a Well, that is a concerning name. that's one way quickly to get demonetized. Right. Anyway, we have Taigeta will be on wrong country. This beautiful mess is going on. We still need our Burgundy back. That's been loaded. Taigeta, go off the Ottomans. Okay. Rip Kilba. And rip Manchu there. Do believe that, yeah, the Japan. Oh, I don't think the Japan showed up, but that still gives a Hosokawa reseed actually. Taigeta, please get onto your actual tag.
Is there like a scanner bird thing so I can see what's going on?
There is. It's pinned in the chat.
Wants to join.
What's going on, my friend?
Hello.
Are you gonna let a player play Venice, Livin?
Sorry?
A player wants to play Venice.
Venice? No, but if you want tags, there's a... I can give you Hosokawa, and I can give you... Aztec.
Yeah, Inca maybe.
Inca is...
Scotland.
A Adam is going.
Scotland.
Oh.
Let's go.
Oh, there
Yeah,
goes
we
my
are getting
cheeks.
Inca as well.
What happened to Taigeta?
Taigeta's going on post.
Hey,
Oh.
hey,
Why did you kick
Lemon.
him?
I think because he was jumping around every country and ruining all the events.
Oh, fair enough.
And I need
Why am I
to
how-
stop doing that because those
Yeah.
countries need events.
Hey,
You scared
Lemon.
the other player away.
Hey, Lemon. Hey, how about I go into Observer?
Don't.
I'm here to enjoy the
I'm
game.
here,
Oh,
boys.
If you don't do that because it's literally promotes streams.
I didn't just
Otherwise,
forget
the
about
person can
the
get
game.
like
Ah,
and like actually watch their watch the opponents.
I didn't
okay, Lemon.
almost
Are,
forget
are
that
you streaming? You are streaming, right? Yeah, I will just
Why don't
watch
you
the
play-
stream then.
Yeah.
Why don't you play
yes,
Aztecs?
but yeah. No.
Hey, me?
Lord, for fucking hours.
I seriously cannot. I cannot commit to any Sunday
So
games.
sad.
Actually, yeah.
Oh well. I mean, if you're around for these 4 hours, then you can temporarily take over attack. Again,
I won't
Yeah.
lie, I
I
won't take
for
Pasha
example, then
You-
no one.
But-
But-
You really hate someone that you want me to take over.
I mean, actually, if you're here for one session, what will be gay is Gujarat because they're meant to be a player. If you can take over them for a session, so
Oh,
they played
can
last
you-
time, but they dropped out.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you can
play
do
Gujarat.
Gujarat, that would actually really be appreciated.
Has he permanently
Because-
dropped out?
Well, isn't there a
we have the
great
issue
board?
that's early in the campaign, so not a lot of people have died. Normally we'd have subs from the people who have died.
Can
Do we need
someone
a
play
great
for-
board too?
Hmm?
Or wouldn't we need a
Oh, we
great
need a
board too?
Japanese player.
And a Poland?
As I
Hey,
get
we
to
play
Poland's
Poland,
joining from what I know.
we are getting a thing once he
Wait.
stops jumping around every single country for every 5 seconds.
No, shut up, Ulmer. No one
That
is gonna
thing-
play Manchu.
How the fuck Poland
No,
didn't
Manchu's
take
dead.
gold mine? Sad.
Yeah, Manchu lost.
go
Manchu
back. Oh,
could play a
they
different
reached that.
country.
You mean the Bohemia?
They did get Kosovo then.
Yeah, Bohemia yoinked the gold mine from Poland. How
no,
the
they
fuck?
actually agreed that split because
Yeah.
Bohemia helped them get. The
Why would you split the fuck? Oh!
They
It
made
is-
like
it
a
is.
cool line. It's,
I mean-
yeah.
This is literally, there's like 4 people in Europe.
Like, come
Oh.
on. Why,
There's only one.
why would
Yeah,
you
I mean, that's
split
obviously a little
me?
exaggerated.
There's only one, and it is me, Burgundian man.
Okay.
Burgundy.
Yeah, but
Sure.
you're
That's a
splitting
good
states.
narrative.
That's the worst.
Savoy, Naples, and Portugal
that's
don't count.
Fun, you know. It's,
And
they-
Sweden
they-
Yeah,
also
don't look
doesn't
at
count.
Italy. Don't look at Italy. It's disgusting.
Right, where the hell is
Yeah,
like
it is. I saw Italy on the
He clicked single player.
Lemon, who am I playing?
Single player. You are.
You don't.
Sorry, you are again.
Dexter, cut me some slack. I got PU'd by Fran.
Sorry, who was asking me who attacked there on?
Me, Taigeta.
Oh, yeah, you are on Poland. I don't know why you're jumping around all the countries during people's events.
Yeah, I was waiting for.
Lemon, will you
Yeah, you are on
try
Poland.
now?
Just
Isn't
stop
Adam
running
playing
people's
Poland?
events. They need this.
Taigeta literally PM like tagged me. Just play Poland. Come on.
Yeah,
Alright,
Poland.
boys,
I
I'm
wanna-
going down
I wanna
to
play-
Ethiopia.
I wanna
It's
play
a tournament
Cusco.
stuff.
Oh, actually, Ormus is not as bad as I thought.
And
Oh,
yeah,
then you-
whoever
yeah.
wants to do the one session, if you can go on Gutra, that'll actually be appreciated.
Why is
Nah,
Adam playing the dude in Inca?
We would also need a
'Cause
Great
that's the
Horde.
Inca too. What do you mean? You don't?
Who
Oh,
was he?
God,
Oh,
where did he go?
Yeah.
Where did who go?
Oh god, what a
We
great
need a
horde.
Poland and Great Horde and Gujarat.
That's the issue, people. I think the Grey Horde, I haven't heard from that at all, so that's a complete no-show last second. Those are always fun. They don't even tell
Gujarat
me.
You
players.
could
I
just
think,
let
gonna be
Gujarat. I
here.
mean, sorry, Great Horde die.
Great Horde.
Well, the
yeah.
problem with that is Poland
I
would eat
mean-
everything over there.
Great
It's
Horde
really
said-
good.
Poland can eat all of Lithuania. Oh wait, they take the PU. Right?
Great Horde
Yeah, they
said he
took the
wouldn't.
EU.
He couldn't
Oh,
join
okay.
today.
Mega Poland.
We do need a Poland though.
Right. Well, that's.
Poland, Kansas space.
Just put Taigita on Poland. I think it'll be fine.
But I don't want to play.
Yeah.
Fair enough, sorry to
Oh.
Wait, whoa, Lemon.
Oh.
Couldn't we take the Inca player
and
and put him on
Great.
a because Poland didn't have a
Horde.
permanent player,
Yeah,
right?
the issue is Great Horde is. Oh, God, it'll be takeover.
Well-
Because I'd rather he play his own country instead of being a sub. But yeah.
I mean, he can just play Poland, then, can't he? Because we're not going to get another Poland, are we?
Yeah, no, Poland's I get it, but I'm asking about you.
He doesn't want to be Poland, I don't think.
Oh, we need Poland.
Poor
You
man.
need Poland.
Why would
Why would
he
you not? I
not
think he's
want to
literally
play
like great
Poland
power
like
number
that?
one. Why would you not take Poland here? I don't understand.
I mean, it might just collapse.
And then we could.
Alright, so
Who's gonna be the Who's gonna be Gujarat?
Maybe just not, I don't know. I think he was probably going to die anyway. Because just
Oh, we don't
as well.
need Manchu. Manchu died
don't know.
where we're at. So we need
I think
Great
we need
Horde
Gujarat.
and Gujarat, right?
Yep.
It's not dead, but like there's better countries. So
Wait, hold-
Don't put anyone on Manchu.
Oh.
Don't put them through the pain. They're just gonna die anyway.
No,
Yaga yaga. Yada
I think this is fine.
Just get baguette on,
Manchu,
on
man.
Russia, right?
Wants to
This
ally
just a
Manchu
minute,
to get up for red. That's
It's
what
Rhino.
Sorry?
It's Lord Rhino.
Oh, okay.
I did tell him you'd kick him. I gave him fair warning.
I
What?
didn't kick him, but I'm just like.
Who'd you
Stop
kick?
Okay, right. In that case, once I get through to LMB, I probably will stick him on Great Horde then, if he doesn't mind it. Although I know people really dislike Great Hordes, you're still included. In that case, probably on Gujarat.
Great Horde's doing pretty good.
I yeah, mostly play here in
I don't
fairness.
know.
Wait,
Don't wanna leave the lobby
Jetson.
up too
Are you
much either.
joking?
Not sure if Spam's coming back as well. We should be-
Jurchen? Jurchen tribes?
Yeah,
What?
where
What?
is-
Are you playing Coptic
Okay.
Ethiopia?
Right, well,
I
guess we're not
studied
getting a Great
Syrian.
Horde, I guess we're not getting a thing, but if people show up last second, then there we go.
Could just put Inca.
Well, I guess Great
on-
Horde's gonna die, it's gonna give more land to glitch and gonna make
Well,
Poland a bigger target
you-
in Europe, but there
We have an Inca player.
No, I just asked him, he wants to be alone, which,
Single player.
well, yeah.
That's my favorite
In
kind
all
of player.
fairness,
Come on.
single player is like, EU4, you want a single player,
Because-
1600s, let's be real.
It's very
Yeah,
important.
but he's not gonna do
Anyway.
anything the whole game.
Songhai
Limit.
ready up.
Start
Ayatai
game.
ready up. Then I can
Ulmer.
start the game, yeah. I need
Ulmer.
to
If you guys
Ulmer.
ready up, I can stop annoying Lemon. Listen, that's how it works.
Well,
I
Ulmer
guess.
ready
Well,
up.
actually, Lemon, I've got an idea. So, the two Italies are probably gonna have a war this session. Whoever dies can go on like Great Horde or something after.
fair, depends
Right.
how much they survive. I know, I'm happy with Reese's. I'm happy that there exists as Reese tags, but I'm not. I don't want to keep the lobby up longer than I have to.
You can
Songhai.
play.
That is who is Songhai?
He's ready now. He's ready.
Lord Rhino. Good. He's press the ready button.
Oh,
Wait,
the
that's you.
borders of Burgundy are
Yeah, it's not-
disgusting.
that's not-
What is
What?
this?
Okay.
What?
well,
You got a
that's
problem?
Right. Well,
I
there
am
we are.
beautiful.
France is
Burgundy looks great on the
disgusting.
player map mode. Don't look at
Yeah,
the
look on the
diplomatic
player map,
map.
and I look beautiful. When I get
France
Burgundian
looks
inheritance,
disgusting.
I will look beautiful.
You cannot get it
Oh,
as a
Why not?
because there's a player on it. Actually, no, you can these days because they changed it. And oh my god.
Yes,
yeah,
you
and that
can.
is fully integrated.
What do you mean? I was
you
about
can
to say,
fully
I
integrate
get
his
it.
vessels.
It fully
No, I
integrates all the
integrate all the
time.
vessels.
Okay, I'm moving off VC. I cannot
I
stand
integrate
so many people.
everything,
I was gonna leave
but
myself.
nevers. I integrate everything but nevers.
Please stop typing the chat box. But yeah. I would actually recommend integration though, because there's small enough you can actually inherit them a lot of the time.
Well, it's
Is-
Nevers
I
is
don't know.
goes to France. I remember.
No, during
And I get-
inheritance. If you're playing Burgundy, yes, you integrate Nevers, but you can usually Holland, Brabant, and Flanders. You can inherit.
Yeah, I can integrate
Oh
Champagne.
lord. 3.
What?
Oh, do we have some number bugs?
3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh no.
Oh no,
Lord.
I'm
Right.
3.
Oh
You
my.
might want to just rehost.
Naples ghosted, Hormuz ghosted, yep. Eu4 ghosted, yep. 6 ghosts,
Nice.
that's a rehost. 7 ghosts, that's a rehost.
Beautiful, beautiful. Some nice rehosts. Very
Fucking
nice.
haunted
Ghost.
house right here. What the fuck is happening? I just want to enjoy the show.
Well,
Come on,
you know,
guys.
If we start,
Kill each other.
remember it is in good fashion for the grand campaign to start.
Guys,
at
I
least
got a
half an hour
quiz
late.
tomorrow. Let's go.
It is the law.
The law.
Yep. When Napoleon conquered Europe and wrote the that law book he did. Forgot what the name of it. He put down page 1 that the grand campaign must start half an hour late.
It's the
Come on.
rules.
It is the law.
Yeah, just can you like schedule it like 30 minutes earlier?
Yeah.
Just be late to your thing 30 minutes.
Exactly, genius.
Yeah, just be late every single Sunday.
You know, it's what it was. The people who were tabbing around.
I mean, the worst part about my Sundays sometimes, my shifts literally change in the middle. So
Oh,
if
dear.
I would have like afternoon shift, I would miss the first part, and if I had the night shift, I would miss the second part, which is annoying.
Well,
Hello.
Jesus, that's unfortunate. Yeah.
Why is this a 1444?
I forget to press the low button, but don't worry, it's fixed.
Oh right, okay.
I shared the
I was
button.
worried for a second.
Don't worry, guys. We're restarting the grand campaign.
Here we go. Uh,
Why are you playing Austrian single player? Why? Why are you doing that?
I won
Who?
the IOU achievement.
I own you.
God.
Let's see. I'm personally getting the Lotharingian one.
From Netherlands. Much better.
I got that one. That was a nice one.
I was joking.
Oh.
'Cause there's no point in forming Lotharingia.
I mean,
And I'd
it
actually
might be
argue that
stupid.
Burgundy's ideas are so much better than Lotharingia's. Like.
Yeah, I know.
Burgundy's
And then
ideas
you
for-
can all.
like are actually so
They're,
good.
they're fucking great. They're probably my
Okay.
favourite, to be honest, out of
Guys.
any idea in the game.
I'll tell you what's gonna happen. Have you guys ever thought of Burgundy to Dutch to France?
That would be really brain
Yeah.
because if you form the Dutch turns, specifically the Burgundy tag, you lose all the land and geography regions.
Not if you
No,
kill
no, no, no.
France.
Not
if France
if I
is
kill
dead, you keep the land.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I formed the Netherlands, become a Dutch republic, and then form France with the
Keeping
French
Dutch
ideas.
No, keep Burgundy out. What's the point of forming France as Burgundy and keep?
I'd actually keep Burgundian ideas. I'd form France
Yeah.
because France gets
Like-
unique missions and the French missions are probably one
Yeah.
of the better ones.
I'm like,
French Ilan
if you
is
if
also
you're
a
playing
nice,
Burgundy,
nice
you've got
addition.
to keep fucking Burgundy ideas because otherwise, what's the point? You just wasted like loads of time.
I don't have to keep ideas.
Please
No.
do. I will personally slaughter you.
I
if
could
you
just
don't.
I
go
think it's
Dutch
just
ideas.
it'd be nicer to keep the
I
ideas, even
will
though I can see the argument for keeping French
slaughter them.
ideas. French ideas are
Well,
good.
it's not like it's gonna be
I
like
will murder
instant.
you, sir.
You see, I gotta do all the Dutch missions,
You
get my
will
extra
be
merchant. You know, that trade efficiency, mercantilism.
You,
I mean, you really don't.
know. You
Well,
have like
I could.
you have
and
so
it's
much
helpful.
better income as Burgundy anyway because you get like 10% distribution.
Yeah, in all
I
fairness,
know.
5% from a mission.
But
Burgundy's
think
got a
about
mission
this.
for 5%.
You can
don't
always
have
make
to
money
form
from trade.
I don't have to form France super fast. I can wait till I need it for a big war, form it to get like crazy stuff.
And
that,
then
uh,
I
if
join
you
that
wait
big
to
war
form France for a big
and
war,
kill you.
said war be now, then you need to wait until the end of the war to form them. So wait
Yeah,
to form attack for a war literally
That's
doesn't
quite
make
funny.
any sense.
Shut up. Shut up. I have an idea. French have better military ideas.
By like 10%.
It's
Morale.
10% morale. And I'll get the 10% from Republic. Double whammy.
Takes so long to load the game.
The issue is 'cause I think everyone is loading right now, so my full upload speed is trying to do run Discord. Run
I hope
stream,
I'm
and,
first,
run
because I did. Oh, I'm not first.
You are
I
first.
joined first. That's bullshit.
You are first.
Okay.
In my list, anyway.
Loaded in. Boom. First
What I love
one down.
about Bengal is why the hell is there like oh that's bastard subject like
Bro, we're gonna go
Yeah.
here.
full of this.
I'm gonna
I
say
feel like there might be a
loaded.
war between them soon now that Gujarat isn't here.
Oh, guys, accidentally
Because
loaded a
Just is
champagne.
weird.
Now I trust Josh to keep the peace. Peace.
I do not trust Just to keep anything.
Personally, I like having.
I expect he's going to
mini
kill all of India, then die. So, like, something really
Die.
stupid. Or maybe
Gonna
just
die
die
like
He's getting a
today.
lot better. Like definitely seen improvement on him.
It makes me very sad, actually, because what's the
Josh
point
getting
in
better
Just if he? Yeah, what's the point in Just if he's good?
Mm.
It defeats the
Guys.
whole purpose of Just.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I think we were all Joshes at one point. I think it's really like the hero's journey, overcoming
Yeah.
overcoming difficult.
Although he's been Just for an awfully lot longer.
Well,
No
you know, it's an
Don't know
X-Men
this.
hero journey. He is after all the main character.
Yeah,
They're all
he is
extras
that.
in
You make a
Josh's
good
struggle.
point. Yeah. I shouldn't say anything. You're right.
Josh is gonna. If we're gonna come back to the GC, and it's gonna like the listeners is gonna be asking Josh for advice.
Yeah. Well, that'll be because the game will have changed so much, or it'll be EU5.
The EU5,
Okay.
where of course the meta will
Yeah.
be about all about taking espionage ideas. And
I mean-
no one's gonna care about the land. It will be about the naval war.
I'm gonna check espionage's policies now, and you're gonna find out that actually they're very good.
Yo, Burgundy into Dutch into France into Britain into Spain? Question mark.
Why into Britain?
It's
Because you've
because
got to
Also,
form
you
as
can't
many
France
tags
is an
as
end
possible.
you gotta form as many tags.
No,
Sorry,
France
France is
is
not an
not
ant
England.
tag.
I could form
GB
England.
is, but
Uh,
France
Great Britain is, France is
Pretty sure
not.
France is an end tag.
No, no,
it's
no.
not. It's stupid, but it's not.
Yeah, so you can just go like.
What the hell is
Pause.
France gonna form?
Well, also, I need
Germany?
that cool French color. I can't have the
There you
the
go.
Dutch
Yeah, you
color.
Yeah,
take
but good
espionage after
The-
taking
yeah, Bernie
photographic
has
for
a
the
good color,
33% non-talent.
the Dutch don't really have the best color.
I mean,
France
it's a
colour's
nice
It's
better.
a nice colour. To be honest, I think burgundy has the best colour. If
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going
No,
for
Sardinia
colour.
Piedmont has best color.
But
Well,
I
out of,
want
I mean, that's
no.
Like,
Byzantium
if you're
has
gonna
the best
form all the
color.
tags, do form Sardinia Piedmont. It's not an end tag. It's a 5% number deficiency.
Oh, that's true.
Fucking
That's true.
good.
That's true.
That's kind of required to
Yeah,
be both of the Italian
Savoy.
tags, but you know.
Savoy, what do you think about this?
He's hurting. What's going on?
Right, here are we.
Savoy's
missing.
in here, just listening to you telling me to kill him.
Well, I'm not formally giving the advice.
I think I
or anything,
listened
but
to
think
you.
we're all
What the
here.
fuck?
I'm just saying
you can
it'd be
start
pretty
now, Levin.
cool.
I think we're all here, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Bro,
am I
but I
missing
could
anyone
actually-
special? No. Okay.
I could form Germany.
I mean,
think
if
about
German's
that.
not an end tag, I'm gonna go shoot Paradox.
It is,
It is, yeah.
but its color is pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, that's true.
What is their color?
Like
I quite
It's
like
like a
Ethiopia's
dark
colour.
gray color.
Ethiopia's really bad,
Um,
so
Ethiopian ideas,
Yeah.
yeah, they leave things to be desired. But
Uh,
if you meet Portugal, you get that event for 25% morale and 5%.
I don't get that anymore because I'm Sunni.
what? Why? Why would you go Sunni then?
Because it's good, and I didn't know that.
Because it's good. Yo, I was so surprised I was
wouldn't
able
go
to
Sunni
take.
The thing is Coptic is like it's pretty bad, and by pretty bad I mean absolutely abysmal. But like you can go
Yo.
bad.
It's really shit.
So lemon.
Yeah, well,
were
there
you
isn't any.
surprised?
There is,
I was
Oh,
able to
Lord.
take.
Any
It's red.
any ghosts?
And
We're
I-
running 0
and
ghosts. Oh yeah.
and I'm basic when it comes to Muslim, and also I get 10% dev cost as Sunni, which you wouldn't get as Shia. So
But the morale is probably one of the few things. I mean, Islam is a pretty good religion. This can be taken
Yeah,
I checked
weirdly
a
out
few
of
of them.
context, but it's a compliment.
I will maybe go Ibadi at some point. I don't know.
The thing
Oh
is,
my
lucky
God.
enough is that it's kind of it's probably one of the few Muslim builds are one of those builds where you actually don't want to convert your land and you want to really abuse it.
Yeah, though you want to have as little land as possible.
Yeah.
Unpause the game.
Which is great for going Shia. But there we go. We are pausing in a moment. I'm gonna let people like to realize what the hell's going on in their country.
Yo, see how long
I
it
need
takes
Omar
for me to
Pride
get
for
married.
Omar Pride to finally finish whatever the hell he's doing. And then
Omar
I'll
Pride?
see you in a bit. There we go. Right. Well. Oh god, I forget shift tabbing causes the game to have. See, I need to get a second monitor again. Because that is the weirdest hasty fits the computer ever gets. Rehost again. What do you mean? We're actually fine. Everyone's in for once in our life. Yep, we should be good. Oh. That's good. Probably should get more time, but nah. There we go. Right. So, how are people doing? Let's start with everyone's favourite. Are you tired? Because alphabetical order. Okay, they have Khmer as a subject. That is fair enough. Interesting choice of the land they took here. I guess this is more of a access to Diviet, although they surely have it through here. Kind of do. Do quite like this new gained wasteland here in Vietnam. Quite like that. It's quite a nice change, but there we go. Otherwise, yep, same Buddhist. Karma being, yeah, an issue. But there we go. I mean, I did be able to push this up a bit more, but there we go. It'll be fine. Nope, looking good. Expansion-wise, I thought he'll be able to go a lot more into Burma, for example, but he really hasn't. He has secured Pegu at least, so it's not nothing, and he is going to get eventually this palace, which is quite a nice one to have as a Buddhist, but there we go. And the pagoda as well would be good. But it is what it is. Economy-wise, well, that's a lot of money, and I think, is that a lot in debt? That is a lot in debt. Probably burger loans, I would assume. Most likely. Economy is existent, but it's still early, so it's not exactly the credit of the player. It's just the fact that it's early on. Aitai is on an irrelevant tag, so far looking good. He is setting himself at force limit. He has opened 1 into quantity ideas, so far so nice in that. And of course, the 15% cover common ability is going to be quite nice. So, time up mode wise, yeah. Interesting blobs over here, but I think that's him trying to secure Siam as much as he possibly can. But again, it's not looking good for his potential dominance of Burma. That seems to be very, yeah, not him. Especially with Bengal killing a lot of the overlords here. So Bengal's getting a lot of these tributaries. Anyway, going back to Aitai, because we will get to Bengal in a moment. So far so interesting. They will have conflict with Brunei eventually, I believe, over here, although they may come to some form of agreement. In their ideal world, however, they would expand into China, which is what they are trying to be doing. However, of course, Iraq kind of got there first. With that, realistically, however, they can still kind of take land, and ironically enough, almost trying to cut Iraq out of land themselves, which I think would be quite funny. Yeah. Because they did use to take land to Heaven CB. I mean, this is horrible borders. Please don't do this. If you're gonna take land, take, you know, take a reasonably nice border chunk, but, you know, like that, just take southern China. But oh well. Also do have this decision, which is interesting. Is it? It's actually quite strong. Military missionary strength, but there we go. And they can switch between the Buddhist ones. I think Vajrayana is probably the better one for the morale of army's existence, but Vizakos is also not a bad one to run, and after all, most of this land is Thirdava anyway. But it is what it is. Moving on to our reseed into the Incas. Who has his work cut out ahead of him. He needs to go unify this there and form Inca. Yeah. well, good luck to him for that. Again, that's a reseed. Let's see how well he does that. Oirat, who just fought a death war against Manchu and won. I believe, did he go bankrupt? If he has, he's paid that off, but there we go. Army as well, manpower, these things to be decided, but again, he has just emerged out of a death war. Although he has taken an opportunity to go into Daviet and eat Ming, so, well, by Ming I of course do Ming, this Ming, not the actual Ming, this tiny PM popped out Ming. So best of luck to him in that. Not sure what kind of borders he is going to try and get himself. I mean, if you're bordering a horde, what you would like to do is get yourself borders on the mountains, but that of course can leave things to be decided. But yeah, we're economy-wise is existent and actually making a decent chunk from the human trade node now. Again, yeah, he's got that actually pretty much on lockdown, despite that being an inland node. I think there's no one upstream really consolidated enough, yeah, to contest it. I think once Transoxiana consolidates further, it's going to be a lot more able to start making that inland node. But beyond that, he kind of has an opt-in it for now, and after all, he's able to suck a decent chunk of money out of China to feed into it. So it's something, despite his size. Also, of course, looting as always, but yeah, he has corruption to root out as well. Mongolia is incredibly disloyal. Why is that? Immense promised defections. Yeah, okay. Probably seized land, I would assume. Although, what the hell happened here is something I'd rather not find out, but it is what it is. But yes, Ming is dead. Moving on to Bohemia, who has allied with Poland and has some interesting borders with splitting the states over in Hungary. I believe they're probably going to keep to this kind of parallel. Yeah, or the AE probably will get in your way for that. Yeah, that definitely is going to be an AE problem. Although, troop-wise themselves, 35k is still to be honed about. Good amount of money to be made from both Hont and Cheb for them, so that's good to see. Not sure why they dev this one to 10 and haven't done Cheb, especially given Cheb has a lot lower autonomy. They also have gone Hussite with a Hussite Central Reformation, so far so good. Ironically enough, flipping starting to flip Poland a bit Hussite, but there we go. Also a bit of a problem for the HRE because immediately they're getting one heretic prince in the Empire. Right, but yeah, should be fine for them to eat what's left of Hungary now. Manpower reserves are good for them. Again, they avoided any early death wars, which is always good. They have an economy, be it gold-based as much as it is. Tech exists, and we are looking at twin quantity. Yes, that is one thing I haven't checked out, is how far along has Aura come in terms of tech. And he's on time on tech, and actually 3 into quantity, taking that cavalry leader and cavalry cost maneuver. So that's good to see. Moving on to Arak, who is getting himself a decent economy going here as well, be it as less gold based, but hey, at least some kind of trade as well. Nothing to complain about. Done quite well for Brunei in terms of taking holdings. Eventually we'll probably want to go over here to get his cloves. Don't know if there's anyone necessary to really contest him in that regard. Otherwise, no, so far so good. Keeping up on tech, I would say, of course, if he wasn't that far behind a dip. But yes, 3 to quantity, so far, so very nice. No complaints there. Moving on from Brunei to Savoy, who, well, hasn't had a death war, but is approaching that point of this reign. By that I mean, of course, these don't look like borders that can last. God, what the hell's going on here? In all seriousness, going to be very much reliant on the Italian trade to make up the difference for, well, being quite small, but there you go, that's for any kind of Italy game. Troops are existent, tech very top notch and on time, and tuned to quantity means that it's keeping up in that regard. Of course, heavy odds it is, but relations also help with AE early, which is kind of nice when you're dealing with places like Genoa. Should not trivial to conquer. So there we go. Beyond that, we have Songhai, who's probably taken a very opposite approach of trying to blob and kill everyone in their local vicinity. at the expense of technologies. Yeah, definitely the expense of technologies. Although they have gained feudalism, which is good to see. They now are on the contestant for getting themselves the next institution. They're probably only then with their tech. It means that, again, without having Tech 5, they haven't even started into their own quantities. So yeah, very reliant on no Europeans showing up outside their borders anytime soon. But they should have time to recover once they consolidate the area. Now we move on to QQ, who, well, was part of some nice early kills on the Ottomans, and well, trying to have a nice little audible subject going for them as well here. And yeah, nice on QQ as well, keeping up mostly on techs. 4 into quantities, so actually leading so far, although that may be just because I believe I have just taken that, so that is why. Nothing to complain about, and QQ ideas are, well, the black sheep and the white sheep do have quite good ideas. Anyway, moving on to Naples, who is in the process of meeting out with Tunis to migrate out of Italy at this rate, it seems. Naples has again a very Italian-based economy, although much weaker one at that. And his defense, he has spent most of his time under the French yoke. Well, he started under the Aragonese yoke and then turned out to be under the French yoke when France got a P on him for no reason. Well, he didn't have an air in fairness, but there we go. He has got 3 into quantity as well, so far so good on that regard. And nothing more to complain about. Definitely weaker than Savoy in an immediate death war, but at the same time, he still has nice land here to eventually, dare I say, taking on like 3 mountains in a row. A couple grasslands, and very, very nice defensible mountains. Moving on to Bengal, who's really taken the liberty, as I mentioned before, to go murder a lot of the people's tributaries here. I mean, he's picked up himself a lot of tributaries, like, Jesus, that's a lot of tributaries. Which means he can basically say, well, this area is mine now, I don't need to worry about contesting it, because I will have to go to war with him over it. Can't just grab it when he's not looking. However, meanwhile, with that going on as well, yeah, he can focus, for example, on feeding himself the rest of the Bengal. No, it's something he probably wants to do. He has got Basta as a subject here, which is building a temple. Good to see. Good job, Basta. But otherwise, Bengal is doing quite well economy-wise. Very no gold, but actually running enough a decent tax income, so decent size, and trader production are not too far behind. Especially this early on, actually getting something reasonable from trade is nice. He has Bengal mostly on a stranglehold with, well, I guess Vijayanagar and a couple of upstream people contesting it, but not too much of a problem for him. Although again, the Coromandells are a much nicer node, and Josh has basically the two of that. On that topic, oh, that's him down Bahmani's. Yeah, fair enough. Really wants to clean up the rest of that. Good timing. Anyway, Portugal is murdering the rest of Granada, most definitely to pick up themselves up for Alhambra. And tackle that because, well, who wouldn't want this gold mine? I know I would. As for that kind of playstyle, decent country so far. Nothing to complain about. What can we say? Well, though I've said that quite a few times. Tech leaves things to be desired, however. Definitely expanded to the detriment of tech, or at least what can be seen now. No institution don't have Miltech 6, which is an issue if players want to fight you, although that is the relative safety. Players really being a saving grace in this arming position. No quantity ideas as well kind of makes you a bit of a target, although they at least have some manpower to go. Beyond those limitations, we move on to Hormuz. It was, you're trying to get themselves the Hormuz trade node. Well, I mean, it's in the name. So good luck in that regard. Actually getting a decent chunk of it so far. It has an economy, which is surprising, and yeah. Well, for some it lives seems to be desired, but it's still the early game, so there we go. He's gone for economic ideas first. Very unorthodox play, like really unorthodox play. Not sure why you wouldn't. And they have gone Ibadi. Okay, well that actually makes more sense. Ibadi is quite nice in the fact that I was going to say you don't really convert, which means you have a lot of non-Ibadi land to abuse the Demi for, but yeah. separate problem, but it is what it is. I mean, Abadi is a great religion, it has goods produced in it, so there's no complaints there. Although an MP, one can argue about the benefits of the morale, as little as Shia does give you. I believe it's 5%, although maybe 10, in which case I'll take it back. It is 5, okay, I was not wrong, good to know. But yep, that's Hormuz. Present economy, especially for the size. So, thumbs up in that regard. Then we move on to Vijayanagar, probably the strongest tag in India right now, 39 ducats. Yeah, definitely ahead of Bengal here with 32, although not by too much of a margin. Also going into Bohemia is hopefully not, well, I believe with the intention to not give Bengal a free reign of the area. But with that, yeah. It compares their respectable force limit and already running 150% discipline. Advisor, oh, strict ruler. And they're running Shakti. So ironically enough, pretty ready for an early death war. Techs are fine. They're a bit behind, but not in ways that matter. And idea-wise, we only just opened quantity, which is, well, that is behind. There's no getting around that. If you're going to open idea group and not actually take anything in it, for example, quantity, you're actually best off again as a recommendation. Take something like religious or aristocratic, because you get to those events, and I think especially religious ideas events are quite nice ones to have, even if you have no points taken in them. But yeah, as soon as you were to take any quantity, you would just immediately abandon the religious idea group for 0 monarch points. Well, who cares? And then pick up your quantity ideas. But there you go. After that, we have Transox, who has had their fair share of wars against Timmy. Believe Khorasan is their subject. There is, which makes sense. Khorasan has a lot of cores to feed. One on QQ, but yeah. Interesting borders they got with QQ here, actually. Yeah, they're definitely going to fight over Persia. Persia is a very juicy target to not fight over. Meanwhile, Khorasan still has a decent chunk of cores to feed. Timmy, of course, has the ultimate amount of cores to feed, but that's not going to be going to anyone's pocket anytime soon. Although Delhi may be competing for it. Force limit exists and an economy is present as well, but tech-wise, actually tech are doing great as well, and 3 into quantity makes me actually say that you're doing great on monarch points. No complaints there at all. So Transox in a good position, ironically enough. Then we get to Moses on Delhi, very good players, hopefully, until I see them. A economy to rival Sparta Vijayanagar, probably a best player in India then. Which is kind of interesting, it leaves the power dynamic of these 3 to duke it out for India, with Gujarat gone. Last second no-show is not much you can do about that. Wow, that's 5, almost 6 into quantity ideas. That's incredibly well done. Like, Jesus. That is actually impressive. About to pick up the 6 quantity idea group. Have a force of 53 and an economy to boot. Trade is being nicked out of them, but just the sheer size is what's keeping them going. I mean, Delhi did give them a bunch of free cores. And they have established themselves a reasonable border in Persia, although we'll see if they would be able to push through with it. If they can secure Lahore, just holding Lahore as India is great. I mean, it's an invasion of Afghanistan, sure, but at the end of the day, it's so defensible if you can get into your country. But there we go. They are out of manpower, which is a bit concerning, but the fact they're 1 away from finishing quantity really should be concerning for their neighbours. That's going to be a huge increase. And they have a couple good generals to boot, so looking good so far. Good job, Moses. What else can I say? Moving on back to Inferno in Ethiopia. How is he doing? Probably living off the gold mines. Of course he is. Half his income, to be more precise. Otherwise, yeah, great consolidation in the local area. He fought Kilwa and won enough to the point where Kilwa isn't back. So GG on him on that regard. But there we go. The income is present and the force limit exists, so that's good to see. Now the unfortunate reality with Ethiopia is he has gone Sunni, but at the same time he still has Ethiopian ideas, so there's probably some ideas of go former tag as it were, to try and get better ideas than Ethiopian, because Ethiopian ideas are really nothing to call home about. Yeah, I mean you're missing 5% discipline, and to make up for it you have 10% core creation cost. I mean, if common ability is probably one of the better things they have there. The mystery isn't bad exactly, but when compared to the other things like fort defense, dip prep, chance of a new air, it really isn't great. There's nothing in Ethiopia. I mean, if the Ethiopian ideas were secondary things to have, like monthly autonomy change on top of your 5% discipline source and all the other fun things, they wouldn't exactly be bad modifiers, but they're all mediocre, which makes them bad because there's nothing there as a good idea, like your discipline, for example. So yeah, there definitely is an idea as Ethiopia to form another tag. Maybe even something I have seen them form numbers before, for example, which actually has reasonable ideas compared to Ethiopia. In the presence of 5% discipline, a decent chunk of manpower recovery. Trying to find the other things that you go for them. And trade steering actually is probably a decent one. I mean, production efficiency also is quite nice, but yeah, especially manpower recovery discipline kind of puts them ahead of Ethiopian ideas. But there we go. Yeah, I mean, the Mamluk strategy is definitely to form Ram, and I believe if Ethiopia was going to shoot to form Ram, they definitely would, but the issue is there's not a lot of good formables down in the south here, so best luck with them in that. Moving on to Sweden, who needs no introductions of formables because Swedish developers give Sweden a decent idea group, although again, what's saving the Sweden from being overpowered is the developers seem to give modifiers that aren't actually that good. Like, great 20% infantry combat ability as an open is amazing, but you're not going to be fighting with infantry for your damage dealing anyway beyond 1600, so it's actually, I mean, it's good, there's no denying it, it's really goddamn good, but it's not as amazing as it can seem on first impressions. Otherwise, there we go, 3 into quantities, so that's nice, keeping up on text. And they have driven Denmark out, which is good to see. They, I believe, have the copper mine. There it is. So when bronze cannons get invented, they're going to be getting a nice actual windfall out of that. Or you're making 2 ducats a month out of the gold. Out of the gold? Yeah, out of the copper mine, which is good to see. Good to see. Right, but yeah, Sweden, ironically enough, outside of Dagestan, Poland has few in terms of natural enemies, so that's going to be a nice run for them. And then there's Burgundy, who's definitely been having a nice game, having a field day each in France. So in that regard, so far so good. Economy for, is this actually Burgundy? Wow, could really be better, but there we go. I guess that's what they get for all the French Death Wars. But yeah, Trust until 48 even. Will take them a while. Of course, Wales is independent. Yeah, Scotland. Okay, yeah. Scotland was played by a player and they were eating England, but yeah, they kind of died to say the least. And hey, Media's popping out. Yeah, I believe they're bankrupt. Nope. I'm from bankruptcy, but probably not in a position to deal with the Australian separatists. But hey, Meath tag you very rarely see exists, so that's always nice to see. And the Kyoda's probably going to break. Yeah, most likely. Oh, they can't break the country, ironically enough, because of course they don't actually control the capital, but there we go. Alright, rest in peace, Scotland. But going back to Burgundy, yeah. Yeah, fine in that regard. Could be having a much better income, but they make up for that in their horde of subjects, which is always nice to see. And they have got gas healing out, which is a great subject to have. That's a lot of reconquest. Still remains, I think, the best subject for eating France. That's basically southern France sorted for you. But yeah, and then last but not least, we have Poland, who's tactically statified in just Kosovo to get themselves that gold mine, and probably will be want to eat the rest of the Teutons, for example. So that'll be interesting to see. That'll be Commonwealth formation, and with Great Horde Golem, it's going to give them free reign to go east. Although there are some ideas to go west as well, although their alliances suggest otherwise. But there we go. That kind of concludes the rundown, which is great to see. And there we are. Now, what has Bengal taken? Interesting choices. They to take this, but not to take the core to Bastra. So rather interesting choice. Also, they have switched Hindu. Yeah, which is nice as well. They have taken the rest of Bengal node here. Especially with the Dang subject. Yep. No complaints. Yeah, I think once Jaipur and Kalamandi are gone, that is all. Yeah. From then on, they'll probably want to go east because Bengal is established, although we shall have to see. Saying that, another place they would probably want to go up is into Kam. Ming would not defend them, so that's kind of free real estate here, and to grab the defensive mountains in Tibet goes a long way. But yeah, Hormuz player has fixed his lag in all fairness, so congratulations on that regard. Right. At least that's a lot nicer than it was before. Who has pinged me? And is it a dumb question? Well, it's a trick question because of course it was both. But there we go. And introductions and rehosting, that will be the first hour in. Gujarat unfortunately being kind of murdered and not making themselves valued recently targets, so that's a rip. Beyond that, Ethiopia, yep, going down south. Interesting to see, are they going to try and... I don't think you can form a Tapa, for example, but even then going south is good. There's a decent trick of gold mines there, and there's definitely a lot less resistance than going into, let's say, Mamluks, for example, so you can see that as a strategy. Beyond that, well, we'll see if there's a water break over here, but I don't think either Bengal or Vijayanagar actually cares much about this. There's no reason for Vijayanagar to take Bengal land, with the exception to annoy Bengal, and there's no reason for Bengal to take Vijay land for the reason to not annoy them. I mean, they can, and they can start to see each other straight, but any conflict like this realistically is going to hand over India to Delhi. Delhi, meanwhile, still has nice buffer states between them, especially with Gujarat now being on the menu. So, yeah. Delhi has the upper hand, but they really don't have enough to run away with it. So, Bengal can quite easily, teamed up with Vijay, beat them up. So that's something they have to bear in mind. This kind is kind of a three-player Mexican standoff currently in India. And whoever's going to fire the first shot's probably going to give India to the third player. So it'll be interesting to see. Realistically, however, it's probably going to end up in a 2v1 of some description. I'm just not sure which side of the alliances people will find themselves in. But there we go. Bengal, however, is probably the best one here for expanding outside India. Although Delhi, they're already starting to bump heads with Oirat and Transoxiana, but, well, I say that, of course, Bengal, even if they are going to expand right, there is Ayutthaya, so they are kind of bumping heads. Meanwhile, Vijayanagar is bumping heads with the ocean, because that kind of does get in the way of the expansion, especially if you're not the Dutch. But there we go. Beyond that, this is cursed. They're not subjects in their case. They've taken the island while Oirat is taking more Vietnam. Well, that's always interesting. I'd like to see how people are doing on score. Vijayanagar definitely did ahead. Let me guess they got their card. Oh yeah. And Bengal picking up Orissa. They just need to call that, and then they're going to have that card as well, which is going to give them a significant advantage. Otherwise, yeah, Delhi has their card on lower Doab. Shouldn't see any issue with them getting that. Especially given that's almost their home node at this rate. Although they have to be careful, of course, if there's Bengal, their trade also is there. Yeah, Bessie is their home node, so there'll be no concerns over taking that from Jaipur. Or at least if they will, they probably will fight to death over them. Beyond that, well, that's an awkward victory card to get. That will bring you to war with the Great Horde, and you should bring yourself to war with the Great Horde, so that's going to make Bengal look at that and go, ooh, free land. Brunei, meanwhile, does not have a victory card, which is understandable, given how it is. Poland has a card on Silesia, but given their alliances and Silesia being in the Empire, that kind of probably stops that that whole plan if that was to take off. And I believe that's the only people with cards. Oh no, I was wrong. Alright, also has a card in here, but that should be relatively easy to get. That's just a simple kill on Manchu, and that is a free card for you. Give me that +1 tick. So that's always nice to see. God, that's the reality. I think I fixed my sleep schedule a while back. So yeah, used to be able to stay up until like 2 AM, I was fine, but nowadays with my relative fixed sleep schedule, getting up at like 9 and 10 means that get tired by the evenings, but it is what it is. Or maybe just my brain last time I sat here got really tired for some reason, and is now having a deja vu moment for that. But it is what it is. Probably don't want to be looking at the New World, although with the exception of well, that doesn't look pretty, but I'm hoping he's got this in the bag, and he does. Just some unlucky occupations, which can happen. Has EA taken Tex? Well, they're taking Tex 3 for him, which is probably a good thing, although I'm not sure. The way it kind of makes the decision up for him. Scramlan exists, so that is an option as well, but yeah. Now, the other thing to see, I believe, is that this Portugal has non-gone colonial. It has gone colonial, I'll take everything back, okay. This looks like a Portugal is going to be very active on the mainland and would go quantity into economic to kind of contest this area, but given that they haven't, well, that kind of tells you, kind of thought they won't be going exploration, but they will be, so that will be a colonial Portugal. Now, England is an AI, and they haven't picked an idea group yet, which is understandable. France, AI ministry, they will not be leaving here alive. And Burgundy, I believe, is quantity. Okay, so Portugal is the only one with colonial ambitions. Not sure if Scotland was, but either way, they're dead now, so that kind of sorts out those colonial ambitions for them. I believe that is basically everyone, with the exception of Rumours going quantity first, and yeah. Not sure why, just taking the 1 in economic, but there we go. They definitely have the monarch points to go 2 into quantity here. Oh. They can also set up their app and pick up this to not waste any more monarch points. They're not in immediate danger, although I still question the idea of not going quantity first, maybe as a flex at this point, but that's about it. It is a lot stronger, gives it a lot more potential to not the early death wars. Now here they actually have an interesting option with Baluchistan. They can take this stuff. They can actually take the whole thing, but that's going to probably bring them into conflict with people interested in Lahore, and by people interested in Lahore I am referring to Delhi, of course. However, if they just take their own node, this may avoid the wrath of Delhi and actually turn them into a potential ally. But given that they can take max money, they cannot take max money. So they can take max money war up in the land. An MP Stout tells me that they're not planning on doing that, but they can't actually, so that defeats that argument. And this is just, yeah, no, they probably will go south into here as well, although this will start making them butt heads with Ethiopia. The reason I'm saying that, of course, is one of the main Ethiopia strats is to expand into something like Rasid and form one of the tags over here. But it is what it is. God, I need to stop saying that. I say it is what it is too much. But, oh well. Right. Nowhere. Why would you want Mary? You are gonna get the event, ironically after one Habsburg, but there we go. I don't know if that's Mary, but that's kind of ironic that I was sitting there on that event. A 5-2-3 I definitely will take. Not sure if he doesn't. Real country in the leads. No, that is the thing, and there we go. No Burgundian inheritance now to happen at all because they have this kid. Yep. If you have any strategies like Castile, which rely on Burgundian inheritance to get your missions done, say goodbye to them because, well, they're not happening anymore. Which is a bit depressing, but it is what it is. I do, however, quite like this Burgundian inheritance of the old one. It's a lot more controllable in the regards of what you can do with it. You just know you have to be largest ally by relative strength, sorry, not by relative strength, but by everyone's favourite metric, real development, and that puts you on top of that pegging of that list. Otherwise, with Burgundy as well, I mean, if you get married, you do get that trait hidden modifier to inherit that for free as well, which is really nice. But there we go. Right. Josh definitely taking some interesting land. Definitely taking this for the trading Gujarat, and to knock said Gujarat if they were to come back on massive peg. How are great powers looking? Vijayanagar on top actually now, but I believe income being lower. It's a large amount of land they took there. Quite a large amount of land. They also haven't given their governing caps out. Like really haven't given their governing caps out. Which they can, given they have an extra state, that's another 100 governing cap, which is good to see. But there we go. Right, Bengal going into up north, that makes sense. Probably want to secure that, and yeah, okay. Probably have borders with Delhi here. He wants Lhasa to have as the barrier against the hordes, I would say. I mean, it's a great place to hold against the hordes. This is all mountain, and it's basically invading through Tibet is even worse than invading through Persia, I would argue, because, well, why would you? You can go around it, but then you kind of go through the jungles, which is still preferable. Yeah, well, there's a lot more happening in India than there is in the other bits of the world. I mean, Europe, great. There's Poland going Orthodox. Interesting to see. I'd actually say, well, maybe go Hussite, ironically enough. Although there's no denying that Orthodoxy is better, so there we are. Otherwise, yeah, Hungary can just be dead here. No two questions about it. Beyond those limitations, I'm not sure why the hell he was on the... Oh, there's a decision not to piece them out. Well, I'm glad to see he's helping in that regard. He has enough troops going for himself, an economy that has seen better days, but there we go. I mean, it's a Kosovo-reliant economy when Kosovo isn't up yet. Did the AI actually increase autonomy here? Absolute genius AI. Absolute genius AI. Or I'm assuming, I'd be very surprised if he did, so, you know. There we go. Kosovo will probably be what ties him over early game without Hont. With, you know, Hont going to Bohemia. They transfer subject. They may have, actually. They didn't have that. I'm not sure how they did that then. But with Croatia being a subject, that means they can suck dev out of them as well, which would be quite nice, especially when they get to the age bonus. Well, that's a depressing one, because I think English is going to win that, Bohemia. You are a bond with Habsburg. But it is what it is. Right. Burgundy, meanwhile, while taking their time, there's not much for them to do outside of killing France. Of course, they're currently going to the Empire. And Savoy and Naples, well, that is just going to be player wars and probably death wars in that regard. Toulouse has been released with some calls, ironically enough, but yeah, that's not sure Naples will be able to capitalize on that in any capacity, but we shall see, we shall see. Thankfully Venice isn't here, because God, that would have made that a bit fatter. Always to see like a Northumberland now independent and Wales also now independent. Oh, Welsh ideas. I know I'm looking at AI, but are they any good? 10% morale isn't trivial. That stab cost is surprisingly high. Your prestige, not great, really not great. You take that, but not great. You take that, but not great. You take that, but not great. And 25% force limit. Okay, I'd say 25% force limit. Like, nothing to call home about. And no discipline. What about Northumberland then? Cavalry, not the best, especially in the Isles. Legitimacy, cost fabricated claims, not great, not great. Although fort maintenance can be, but really isn't enough to call home about. Agus producing a missionary, but no discipline, yeah. Well, that is incredibly cursed. This is probably one of the most cursed islands I think I've seen in a while. What the hell is going on there? Also, what the hell's going on in that chat? But that's not going to be my problem. Hopefully, it is my problem. Okay, Bengal. However, I think he's got his nice borders sorted. Just J4 to kill, although he has that as a subject now. So, yep, running triple subject actually, kind of stopping him have any player allies. Although he has Delhi as a access for a marriage. I don't think he can have it because he is top 4 great power, so that kind of puts him over the slots. Yes, it does. Yeah, wow. Delhi being the strongest one out of all of them, but I guess he just has no subjects. This was all actually his land. And wow, what a general. What a general. Well, India's going to have a relatively free run anyway this game. And there we go. Always good. Is a Golconda a subject? It is a subject. There we go. It's kind of depressing how much EU4 made me like learn countries. Like if you tell me Golconda, I'm actually aware of where it is. Which I'm not sure many people outside India you can attest if they haven't played Paradox games, but that's geography for you. Okay, Dan being taken, that definitely means, yeah, definitely trying to get themselves the Hassan note as well, although this is probably ugly, probably will go to Delhi to avoid future conflict as soon as this is integrated, if it ever is. I mean, at most it's just annoying to 7 Dev, there's not much trade power there to nick literally 0%, so. Well, that might be because their trade power is being nicked, saying that, so. Yeah, okay, maybe that is the case, but there we go. Okay, Oirat is coming down on cam, so that is maybe a future place of conflict. Ironically enough, to push into the mountains to secure the mountains for yourself. I mean, just look how amazing this land is for defense purposes. Probably why Oirat is so religious at taking it. At the same time, there is reason to believe they're just here to take. Well, they literally can't. They have to take. It all basically. Yep, and they can definitely get away with it. So maybe a place of future conflict. Unfortunately for Oirat, fighting the mountains as a horde is not pretty. They have the best generals, and the manpower has seen better days for them. Economy is actually surprisingly nice again, moving off the Yemen trade by 26 income, but Bengal is well ahead of that economically, well ahead of that militarily. They have techs, which I think actually, in all fairness, so is Oirat. Yeah, they do, and actually they have tech 7 if they need be. And our final ideas, so about equal in that regard, just Bengal can bring the numbers. Not sure if Oirat has much in terms of enemies, although of course they do, they have Untitled. They've also been kind of messing up with their ambitions in here. So yeah, not the best look, but there we go. Best of luck to him with that. That'll be interesting to see. Otherwise, yeah, Rip Great Horde, although they haven't really gone for much. I know they fought Musket a couple of times, but really not seeing a repeat out of that of the AI, which is not surprising. QQ going against the Mamluks. Not sure if that's the best idea for them, but I mean, why not to some extent? They can grab Syria here, and yep, they're doing the last trick to pay for forts. Definitely does make sense in an economy this low. So far so good on that. And is this a subject? No, this is just a massive Marrakesh. I still mention a subject of that they are. Okay, makes sense why they're doing so many occupations, and that's a lot of course to feed back to them. Yep, Aragon also kind of exists on here. No Iberian wedding as of yet. And Pope is getting murdered, which is everyone's favourite activity. Oh my bad, but there we go. Yep, Pope getting the short end of the stick in terms of the whole surviving. But it is what it is. I'm sure they will be fine. Right? They'll be fine. Right, it is getting pretty dark in my room, so I'm going to turn on the lights. I will be back with everyone in a moment. Well, right. But no, one thing I can definitely say is people have learned from the initial lessons of don't do death wars early, kids. People are definitely religiously avoiding them and taking their time to build up their countries and EKI. Not to say they're not fun, the early death wars. There are certainly metas around that as well, but it's one of those games you're best off not playing to set yourself up better for, well, it's less fun to do a player war, to not do player wars early, but it just makes your country stronger and better. But there you go, yeah. Just a double check, just eat up the rest of this area. It's kind of he's in a good position where he owns a lot of tributaries here, which has ironically been great for him in terms of manpower, I believe. Yep. More than feeding him manpower, and I mean, if a coalition does come knocking, he can release them, but realistically as well. It's kind of awkward because you have to set those tributaries free and then kill them. And they've kind of allied each other, which actually can be their saving boon. If he, for example, releases this tributary, he can kill both of these tributaries without the threat of an Ayutthaya coming in, for example. So that's probably a good thing for him. Beyond that, yeah, I think that's alright moving in. Most definitely. Yeah, to stop that. Is this? Yep, called it. Oh, I didn't take the southern bits here. Okay, interesting. But this has kind of now given Bengal their first contested border, so much like Delhi has Transox on their borders, Bengal has Oirat, which I'm not sure which one is the person you'd want. And they're burning their land with max mill points, so not the best idea. Take your next quantity idea, definitely. Or take Mill Tech 7, whichever one you fancy. Beyond that, yep, surprised to see Venice still holding on to their gains against Byzantium, but there we go. England has been permanently hampered in this situation. It'll be interesting to see which player ends up taking over that. I'm assuming probably Burgundy. Burgundy are really having the dominant position in Europe, most likely. Well, in Western Europe anyway, although eventually they will hit a brick wall against the Portuguese, and Poland and Bohemia seem to be working quite closely together, so they can definitely present a united front against a dominant runaway Burgundy. Beyond that, Brunei doing good. Shame about no one in Japan, but you don't always get everything you wish for, and I really would have preferred a Great Horde and drop out last second, but it is what it is. Otherwise, well, slow and steady, hopefully winning the race in the expansion over here. They're starting to do a lot of the reforms anyway, and that might take them a while. But it is what it is. Right. How has Songhai been doing? Have they started to consider the option of catching up on tech? Well, that is a no. Have they considered the option of deving? Nope, but they're actually getting Renaissance here, I believe, through knowledge sharing? Yeah. Who is knowledge sharing then? Portugal? Oh, most likely. Yep, called it. Okay, that's probably going to keep them relevant here. The fact they're working together kind of points towards a potential makeshift alliance in the future, which is probably going to be mutually beneficial, ironically enough. I don't know if Portugal can bother to go into Southern Africa, and this does give Portugal another force on land as an ally in case Portugal themselves is under attack, so good to see. Good to see. Are they now? Delhi, Brunei. So they've allied Ayutthaya. Nope, you can ally them, but who else have they allied? Player-wise, Brunei. Yep, can't do that. Let's go fix that. Hi, is Ayutthaya here?
Guaranteed by Brunei.
Is
Hello,
Ayutthaya
lemon
here?
cake. What's wrong?
You're breaking up ice rules.
Can we go speed 3?
What?
I reckon we can try.
We can try speed 3 in fairness, but yeah, no, you're Great power. You're on the great powers list. So you have 2 nice slots, and you've allied great power and an off great power. So using 3. And actually, Delhi's now. You can't even ally. You can have to drop Delhi because Delhi's into top 4.
What's going on?
Ayutthaya needs to break with Delhi because they're over dip slots.
Ah, okay.
Good.
I know, cheating, but yeah. If you're in the same war, which you're not, you know, you can obviously wait and kill the. It's a player war, doesn't matter, but it's not a player war, doesn't matter because I know you can get like you take it to 2 stab hit if you break mid wall, or is it a 5 stab hit? I'm not actually sure, but yeah, you are.
It's a 1 stab hit, I think.
Is it 1 stab? I never really do it.
Outside the Burgundian succession.
But yeah, they got an S, so they're not. That's just not happening.
I might be about to get my entire army stuck. Yeah.
Burgundy's a PU under France. I don't know if that was intended.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
I'd say Burgundy.
Oh.
He's just gonna independence more.
Maybe he did it to.
Yeah.
Maybe he did it to integrate the unions.
Yeah, but why doesn't he integrate Flanders? Oh, it's not his PU anymore. It broke.
Flanders. Why though?
Yeah, because this oil already hated him. Because he took too much money off of his PUs or something.
Yes, they were negative opinions. They actually lost Flanders. Right.
Alright.
But there we go. Huh, so yeah, actually never mind. I was pretty sure that you don't get the Grand Inheritance again in there. But I was wrong. Oh well. But there we go, at least that's resolved. Yeah, no, I mean it kind of makes sense, gives them a lot of free integrations. Ironically enough, actually, of Gascony as well, because you integrate. You annex all subjects, don't you, when you get PU'd as Burgundy? I'm wondering if that's abusable, because it probably is. But it's a relatively early thing that happens, 1478, so I don't know how much you could have used that, but yeah, you do annex all subjects. If you can somehow like subjugate a whole host of people, it's kind of insane. Because you do annex all PUs, so if you play Burgundy and get like a cheeky PU on England through some God knows how magic, you actually would integrate them for free, wouldn't you? I'm now tempted to try that. But we shall see. Because of course I believe there's still, I think it's fixed now, the subjugation CP exploit thing on anyone. But yeah. I mean, if you can get like a subjugation in Austria, you would need to keep them happy, which would be near to impossible. But yeah, they may just give you the annexation for free, which would be massive. But there we go. They also. Oh, arrogant doubt. Yeah. They're actually going to help them. It's kind of ironic. Does this reset their truce as well? It does not. It does not. Okay. But yeah, fair enough. So don't get me wrong, pretty sure Gun Inheritance did not happen if you did that, but wow, that's actually a really good ruler. Trait wise, mnemonic points a bit less so. But there we go. Oh! At least Portugal's having a nice game. And yeah, no, they didn't want to poke that bear. God, same border colour CV when. Ugh. Horrible. But there we go. Also, in a disaster, which isn't the best of signs, yeah, they're going to have to enter that peasant school most likely. Not converting, fair enough. Although I'm not sure actually with the Dhimmi, I think it needs to be not just Muslims, but wrong religion people, as in not. Words are hard indeed. Not heretics, but heathens. So I think that doesn't count, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of heretics. But oh well. Alright, will be interesting to see Bengal's response to this. But there we go. I mean, Orad has literally no allies, but then again, neither does Bengal. They just have a lot of subjects, which aren't great, although with the exception of Dan, which actually has a troop or two with it. I say that, he has 3 actually, I take that completely back, he just looks big. Beyond that, yep, They were again because of all the weird religion culture switches, being able to retain a massive amount of crown land. So good going in that regard. And okay, they've eaten the rest of this land over here. So taking everything apart from Ayutthaya Pegu here. So that's probably something for them to look at. Also with that, Brunei is an alliance. But it is what it is. Don't know if they'll be how keen they are at keeping Pegu as a province. I mean, for the for Ayutthaya, it's a great one to hold on to. It has the palace on it, for crying out loud. But you can actually move that. Don't think you can. Yeah, it's too big to move. Assuming this is too big to move. Yeah. Kind of weird how so many of them are movable in all fairness. Oh, the actual brain is level 1 for Yearly Karma Decay. Yeah, makes sense. You probably do want to get that discount going for yourself. And every time you declare war, you kind of lose karma, so kind of hard to keep that thing up. But there we go. Right. Oh, so we're at looking in. Well, they're taking Tech 7, which is now no longer ahead of time. Fair enough. Can Bengal say the same and their enemies? Well, Ming definitely can't be. Miltech 6 and 7 behind. Same for Mongolia, which is very much not loyal. Don't know why. Should probably stop taking trade for that. But yeah, are they disloyal because of events? Yeah, events promise defections. That would do it. They only have the tribes as well, which is kind of an unfortunate reality for monarch points. But oh well. General cost manpower modifier is nice, and no complaints really can be made over there, but there we go. They have popped high income, if they can pop high income if they can, obviously, but not sure that would be the best idea for them in that position. Right. Otherwise, Mamluks is getting burnt to the ground. No surprises there. QQ has a relatively free reign over them here. Because Ethiopia is not contesting Mamluks with them, it really is just go at it, as it were. I mean, who are they war with? They're also war with the Ottomans. Yeah, that would. But although I don't believe they've been called in by QQ in that war. Yeah. Still a relatively reasonably sized scary Ottomans, so they will not be trivial to fight over, and still can be used as a battering ram. Probably one of the few remaining AI battering rams to use. With the exception of now the Great Horde and the Muscovy, who have been left alone. The Great Horde is nice to be left alone because they have potential reseed, although I'm thinking the AI is going to use the lose that Horde unity rather quickly. Yeah, because they're probably not going to go for many people in terms of kills, but it is what it is. Also do have Theodora as Crimea. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they will need to go into here, and AI will not take that war. They're not brave enough for that. Have they taken at least ideas yet? Oh no, they haven't. Oh dear. We'll probably need to nation fix that if I do plan on releasing that in the future. But there we go. Meanwhile, Sweden also having a relatively nice time up there. With no natural enemies, not even paying for their forts. God, that's a luxury. But yeah. Burgundy, that's one of France's done wars. Who is Delhi in the process of murdering? What's left of Baluchistan? Fair enough, secure the Lahore node, or what's left of that. I like how Delhi's existence is what's keeping Transox from disputing this land, but Delhi probably now has the better of the stick, with Bengal bumping heads with Oirat and Ayutthaya now. Bengal is the one with a relatively nicer expansion with just Transoxiana there, although Transoxiana itself well, doesn't have much in terms of subjects, that's in terms of allies, but there we go. Interesting to see her not killing Timmy for the remainder of the Khorasan cause and integrating them immediately, but probably for the best to get that rolling, and that that increase in strength from having more land. I'm interested to see how they will split up the rest of this Persian node, and if that piece will last though, because QQ probably has an idea on how they want to kill Khorasan. Also, again, they do actually have the Kazakh as a subject, which just goes to show how much larger they actually are. Music, meanwhile, no longer a free kill because of that Muscovy alliance. Muscovy is not trivial, especially even with an AI on it. They're so into the game. Brunei has the most to eat out of everyone in India. I mean, QQ actually has a decent chunk as well, they're all their subject, and Hormuz has eaten a lot, but again, there's more. Ethiopia, meanwhile, has AI to eat for days here into to either to go north, go south, anyway, it's an open buffet. Anson High has the opposite problem, they have too much to eat, which is hampering their early development, which isn't too much of a deal if they can avoid early player wars, and the fact that Portugal is given an institution tells me that they're avoiding early player war with Portugal. Well, that's free real estate in that regard. Meanwhile, yeah, slow and steady, but in all fairness, I haven't done too much. Let's try speed 3. We really should give that a go realistically. I should have done that a lot earlier if I'm being honest. Really should have done that a lot earlier. Yeah, people are behind, okay. And that's why I've honestly been depressed trying to think. Because you can see that people keep going and then they don't. But hey, at least the player map is starting to get more and more filled out. Germany still remains rather barren, there's no Cologne player etc. to get themselves dominion over that area, which is probably a nice change for that. Be interesting to see how the Empire works out. Burgundy is probably going to have free reign here if they do get the event for Burgundian Royal entrance. They demand lowland independence and they said no. They said yes? What? Oh, France said yes. France said yes. Oh no. At least they kept their course on it, so that's not the end of the world actually, but that is actually incredible. Of course they didn't get that choice, France just said yes for them. I believe there's no way player would have given that up. France was like, I don't want to play a war with us. I don't want a war with Austria. No. Well, they didn't get merit, at least, so they're not going to get the event where they get inherited, which, you know, is probably a thing, but it'll be, although I'm not 100% sure now. I think they don't, but I was also thinking that the Gun Inheritance doesn't happen, and it clearly did. I need to look into that again. I was pretty sure if you get an air, you don't get it to fire, because I did play Burgundy, but I think it fired, I just said no. Or actually, I think when it fired, I had Phalanx France, so that's probably why when I fired, I could just say no and nothing happened. Oh yeah, the French aren't there to threaten us anymore, was the button. Yep, brain has engaged. So far, so good. But there we go. But that's the issue with Burgundy as well sometimes, is they do kind of just end up losing their subjects quite a few times over. Especially when you are actually going for the inheritance. At least I have to commend the borders here, that's quite kind of nice. At least in a nice straight line, especially once you consider Bosnia and Croatia being part of Bohemia. No idea why they took that land there, but it is what it is. And hey, Hussite at least is converting everything for them. I think Hussite got nerfed a lot as well, because I think people were talking a bit too passionate about Hussite Prussia being a thing, and nowadays it's only Reformed and Protestant. Although I'm not actually sure, I think you still can't do Hussite Prussia though. But yeah, that shock damage received got nerfed to 5%, which means it's not really great. And military buff wise, manpower, which is good but not comparable to the Orthodoxy manpower buffs. Although at least it's everywhere. Iliam tradition to gate isn't bad, but the war scoring against other religions at least is nice to have, because it's basically everyone. Let's be real here if you're Hussite. But there we go. Right, Delhi will be cleaning up the rest of that, and probably will go into Timmy eventually, so that'll be nice. But then Vijayanagar now has a nice amount of Gujarat to eat. I've been wondering if they'd be consolidating rather into themselves. 32 capital tells me maybe not. Although 48 by there tells me that. Certain players definitely have been using that. And that does bring me to the point what are the nice capitals of the world? Sweden's a nice one, 38. Let's go look at the entire world. Burgundy is probably the leader at 49 so far. Tunis is looked green at 14, but that's a lie. See the worst is at 30, respectable but not great. Nothing fancy in the new. Well, I say that of course, but 43 random tribesmen is 43 random tribesmen. Transox has been reasonably consolidated into, although they may actually started that. That's just Syria being high and down. Leviathian are doing well. Ooh, Ayutthaya. Yeah, that's definitely been a lot of consolidation to Ayutthaya. 77 development. That is the city of the world society. And Oirat as well, 42 mountain is. I really hope he didn't dare that to 42. You can see that match to be doing much of the same. Not sure about Brunei, but at 33, yeah, you can guess. It does make the age objective a lot easier to get with consolidation of development, but there we go. Ooh, that's the wrong button, my bad. Yeah, I'm tempted to try speed 3 again if I'm being honest. Oops. My bad, I don't want to pause that. That, in Bengal, that graphics gets a new image. Consider me intrigued. Didn't realize that was the case. But yeah, people are not doing their early death wars or anything fun for me to do, so yeah, very sad, very sad. It is what it is. It is the better case, and yeah, there goes Josh. But in all fairness to him, he's done pretty well for himself. Bahmani is Troost, so is Gujarat. So basically his immediate neighbours, which we can check with the Truce's map mode. Which is a map mode I really should be using a lot more. Gujarat isn't. Is that up? Has a okay. Yeah, red is Troost. Greenies have a CB. So they have a CB on Bengal. Oh, humiliate. Yeah, could be a better CB than that. In all fairness, they can also go into Changda. But they can't exactly. Oh, they can take land. Wakonda can. But yeah. No complaints to Josh there. He's played Vijayanagara nice and well enough. Ming is going through 4 implosion, especially with the third Oirat Ming War for mandate. God, I wonder if when he takes the mandate. Don't take the mandate, kids, by the way. Unguarded nomadic frontier. Yep, that's happening. Don't know if the war will drag along enough for that to happen though. And yeah, don't go to a farming fort. Although they are probably going to suicide a lot of troops into that. 3k a take is disgusting, but there we go. That's what you get at 0 mandate. Yeah, no surprise there. Shock phase especially is brutal. But there we go. Sure. Try speed 3, but it's going to go badly. -1 stab. Yeah. Now they're starting to get. Yeah. One day I'd have a dream that speed 3 will work, but today is not that day. Yeah, God, Nomadic Frontier will be. I was saying they're now in the coffin, but at this point they are very much in that coffin. And the nails have already been used up quite well. Hey, Manchu's going in for Korea against. Again, there's no player on Manchu now, so Korea still going to probably die to them, but it's not like Oran's going to go to stop them anymore. They're not a threat for them in the area. But yeah. What is they going to do? Well, they've last stand, or are they going to go unsiege their land? Of course. Yes, I agree. This 2k men is a national priority to go siege out this fort. That is the #1 thing they should be doing. They need to liberate the China way. Chinese to get their China way back. Of course. It all makes perfect sense, but there we go. That's AI logic for you, really. If you ever wonder what's going through their mind, the answer is probably nothing. But there we go. That will be the end of this, and with the war, yeah, that's going to be Unguarded Nomadic Frontier sooner rather than later. 84. Don't know if they will actually be at war for 3 years. They'll give them a truce, which actually take them out of the disaster, I reckon. But there we go. Yep, Great Power #4. Only non-great power allies. So hey, you can hold on to Brunei, which you have. But there we go. Oh, these are Ayutthaya subjects. Interesting. Well, that's going to be at least a contested node in Burma. Which is probably for the best for them. Although the majority of it is still going to Bengal at least. Which I would have really expected more, but I guess a lot of it is tributary, which is hard to tell. They give that to Monkan. So don't be surprised. Which they may not have. But yeah, at least Hormuz is starting to look nicer and nicer on the map. Always nice to see a good Hormuz. I remember playing Hormuz when I was just out of EU4 and messed up terribly, so glad to see them doing well. But there we go, Portugal also having a nice field day in Northern Africa. Granted, they have the Tafla gold mine. Did they get the striking gold thing? They did, which is incredibly good if they can bother to dev this, which they really, really should. They have full cores on it, and if they can dev this to 10, it just makes bank out of this. Really does. So, good to see. Don't know if they will bother going to Tunis, but the fact they have Momentum tells me that they have bothered to go into here. They probably will be quite interested in eating it up into Castile. They aren't allied, but at least they're friendly, so that'll be interesting for them. I mean, there's a lot of good Castile for them to eat, let's not deny that. Right, but let's move swiftly on. Everyone's favourite activity. Gone to what? It's just people eating AI. It's the grim reality, I can't hide that. I mean, it makes sense. Early on, you don't want to play a Death Wars again, and Speed 2 has been hampering people's developments. Let's try Speed 3 again, but that's going to end badly. Also, haven't you got 54? You can probably pass through. Oh no, do you need 100? You need 100, okay. God, I do forget the reforms take you for a while. But yeah. I think Burgundy is still stuck under PU until the truce of 85 anyway, so that's another 3 years of PU. And the absolute minimum, which, if they had this ruler just trait-wise out and about, but the AA is not going to matter for them, which is unfortunate. It's kind of funny how they were forced to give... This is in the Empire, aren't they? Oh, they are. Oh no, they are. At least apart from Flanders, so they're going to have to delve into the Empire, so they have to dow the Emperor. Which is still Austria, and actually is going to get another reform out, despite the whole Hussite mess going on here. Which is kind of remarkable. Did they also spawn... They did spawn faceting here, which is interesting, because don't they get a Bohemian glass? Well, that's Bohemian crystal. Doesn't that increase the price of glass? Is that just not... It does increase the price of glass despite the province not producing glass. That's amazing, but there we go. Because there's no reason to never pop the Bohemian glass. I mean, it's just a price increase for everyone, sure, but it's just more money. Well, it would be, of course, if this was Bohemian glass and hence it's Bohemian gems, because they got faceting. Which is, no, it makes sense. It's a good place to have faceting for them, for the Bohemians, obviously. Does kind of screw over the original faceting place in Constantinople, but it is what it is. I wish there really were more events like faceting in the game that changed the goods produced, but yeah. Like, I actually got disappointed this. I was doing a Burgundy campaign again. I was looking at Verdun, not Verdun. I think it was Reims or. Oh yes, Metz. I was like, ooh, glass province. Good province. Let's see if I can fly faceting. That would be great. And I'm going to have residue, goods produced, and trade value on not only an inland, center of trade, but also be on coal. Turns out you can't fire it from a latent coal province specifically. That's one of the requirements. But there we go. Anyway, Transox going into Great Horde. So, well, I say Transox going into Great Horde. Transox on Ottomans, mostly Ottomans going into Great Horde here. Which probably for the best, let them not actually fight. We'll give you Great Horde, and that kind of gives you access into Russian to take over as the Great Horde. You do definitely need to expand here as Transoxiana. There is no two questions about it, but there we go. I mean, Delhi will eventually come knocking for Persia, and if you want to contest Persia with QQ while QQ is grabbing himself Syria, you definitely want to start grabbing yourself into at least this Great Horde land. It's not the best land in the world, it's no Syria. Syria has an amazing amount of dev, but it's something. So, definitely keep you in the competitive area. But yeah, Ming definitely getting burned down to the ground here. Not sure there's going to be much left of that. Don't know if they're. Oh god, yeah, that probably will 1482 now. Come August. Literally in 4 months. Although the war's going to be over in 4 months, saying that. Which will actually stop the thing firing. Oh yeah, 95. Of course, he can't see this, alright, so he'd be better off than AF5 for them, but he's probably going to take the peace deal now, which is going to save them, because they're going to be truced. Although he probably wants these occupations. Although we'll see, we'll see. If he wants these occupations, that's going to help him. If he doesn't want these occupations, then he's going to just save the main from Nomadic Frontier. It's kind of ironic. This, by the way, is one of the more horrible disasters in the game. But there we go. It's no Court and Country, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, 2 months and that's disaster. I mean, Ming has actually kept their course on that, so that's kind of interesting, but there we go. Oh yeah, they do keep their course as a Volta tank, but yeah. God, imagine the Reconquest as Ming. Fortunately, they do kind of lose their cause relatively quickly, I mean... Yeah, by the time Ming falls, they lose their cause. Oh, they sent a peace deal and the AI player rejected it. Yeah, just give me all this back. Woo. Let me just get China back, please. If they took back, they'd actually have a reasonable chance, but yeah, let's be real here, that's not happening. Meanwhile, what is going to be the taken land? Probably that little corner thing, and then most likely he's just going to be trying to go around the coast to prevent other people taking stuff. And they've just ended. Oh no, they've just ended Unguarded Nomadic Frontier. Almost perfectly. God, well, these three is still loyal. They're not. And they have bankruptcy. Well, the game they expect to go bankrupt 5 years in the past. That's a bit concerning, but there we go. They bankrupt? No, okay. I was gonna say. But yeah, okay, more land grabs, no question about that. Yep, gonna be stopping Untitled, getting any more from that. Oirat definitely taking the dominant position over here. And Gujarat getting Delhi, which is understandable. Not sure how they split this train it up. I mean, Vijayanagar's definitely laying their claim to it. But if Vijayanagar can enforce a claim to both Deccan and Coromandel, that's going to be insane for them. Especially with their contention of Gujarat as well. They already have a third of that node, and they have this node basically on lockdown despite so much of it going to Gujarat. You know, Coromandel goes to so many places, but at the start of the game, South Africa on the basic coast doesn't exist. Gujarat is contested, so you can at least retain control there. And there's no real powers in the Gulf of Aden that can suck node out of Coromandel, for example, which really is quite nice to be a nice position to be in. But there we go. Right. That will be that. Grey Horde again being burnt to the ground here. Interesting to see what Transox will take. I'm assuming they're not going to feed their subject, although they might actually, but this guy, if they do feed their subject, they can't feed themselves, so... Yeah, I actually can't really check how much they can take. Around half the Grey Horde. Reburn all this land as well, which is kind of ironic, but there we go. Is that Bashkir? No, that's not. Where is everyone's favourite gold mine? Or it is actually the God's favourite gold mine. I don't know the Russian gold mines. I need to play Russia's a tad more. There it is. Bash Treaty, yep. Okay, they probably will want to grab themselves that. Gold mine's gold mine after all. And it is sitting at a pretty sick development, so you can tell the player's been on that. Production debit. Manchu has took a depressing amount of land from Korea. Like, what is this? Just Hanzhou specifically. Interesting choices, but there we go. Meanwhile, yes, on high, just consolation to do, not much more. Let's try speed 3 for love of God. Let stuff happen, but yeah. Okay, Bohemia going against Austria here, that's an interesting idea. Will hopefully go well for them, but not going to be a trivial war. They are actually outnumbered here, so wait for the best for them to go peace out some people like Heinrich. Yeah, but also Burgundy again, not in the Empire, and they've just given up all these cores in the Empire because France said yes. So that's a bit awkward, but there we go. Interesting they'd be like Austria really enough, because you'd think they'd go to peace people out. They wouldn't want to fight the Austrians with their little 1k stacks around the place, but I guess Austria's not really consolidating their armies into somebody who can contest this, even if they do outnumber them. So, yeah, this is just going to be annoying enough, especially with Chad being occupied. There goes a good chunk of your income. Right, but yeah, 10 production dev on that. Surprised again they haven't got 10 production dev there, but it is what it is. At least that autonomy is on 0. Yep, autonomy decreased. No complaints there. Syria has been released, I'm not even surprised at, as a subject. Okay, we're gonna have to leave it behind for Georgia if there's no chance. Yep, as a subject. One of the best subjects in the game, I'd argue. Well, Syria or Gascony, which doesn't exist because Burgundy integrated them for free. But there we go. Interesting they're taking that, isn't this? Oh, yes, it isn't. And they are going to take these chunks of Persia, I'm assuming. Yeah. It means Hormuz doesn't get on their nerve, they get another chunk of Persia for themselves. And they want to be sharing it. Keeps Hormuz out of them, then they are making a cheeky ducat that they can into Basra, which they are actually pushing to Persia to collect them. Interesting. Interesting choices. God, 12 years and no player wars, come on guys. But all joking aside, it's good. It lets people build up their countries more. As well as this. I'm surprised, what I will say most is Naples and Savoy not going at it, but I guess they have a lot of A between them and they have AI to eat for days, because even though the AI themselves may look small, because every province has a good 35 dev each, it's, well, not 35 dev, but you know what I mean. It's actually not trivial, and aggressive expansion, while starting to approach relevance, is still kind of a factor. So that'll be interesting to see. But it is what it is. Yes, England has been permanently hurt though. They kind of really let go of Ireland. I'm assuming they just, yeah, really not even interested in touching Scotland. Kind of ironic that Scotland, maybe with some nation fixes, actually may still be a viable tag at this rate. They've got economic, which is AI. Shit, I'm intrigued. Oh god, okay, well they've released Bashgrid as a tag, that's... Well, they released it. What? I was gonna say, yeah, no, that's a subject, okay. Very subject heavy expansion, and Great Horde are now getting Poland, which I suppose it didn't happen sooner, but there we go. Yeah. Poland, of course, wants to be a bit careful because they can... just a button to press. Yeah, Lithuania can only be fed with one more province, which will probably be Riga, I'm assuming. No, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see what that province will be. But of course, after they feed that one more province, if they feed it any more, they'll never be able to form the Commonwealth because they'll be too big. But there we are. Right. Yep. Yeah, Great Hall still has an army, and tech-wise they're actually Tech 6 versus... Still Tech 6, they don't have Tech 7 yet. Bashrid, of course, hasn't popped out with Tech 7 because Transox is making up on it. Which means, yeah, Glitch has now opened economic and going through quantity. That's another thing I do actually want to check again, is how is score looking. Vijayanagar is actually on top, followed by Bengal in second, but, yeah. Bengal having a nice, much nicer spread, Vijayanagar being third administrative, but a 10th and 8th in diplomacy and military is kind of interesting. Does Bengal not have their card? Oh, I guess they're only gaining their card right now. That is only... Yeah, they're still gaining their card and then they're going to get up one. So actually Bengal would be winning on score. Oirat, meanwhile, does not have their card already enough or any of that either. So yeah, they're going to be Vijayanagar's maximising their early card a decent chunk. But there we go. That will be good to see. Yeah, Empire of China can probably collapse. Got a nomadic frontier. At least 10 loans. Yeah, that's it on China. Just a money punching bag at best right now. Should have actually checked how much money Oirat can push out of it. But looking at this amount of money, the answer is a lot. They're running war taxes. I'm assuming they got them for free. Yes, they have. Interesting choice. They went for the war taxes here instead of like adaptive combat terrain, for example. Although again, they're probably not fighter mounted, so I can see it. And AE, which is nothing you normally go for early instead. They just don't need. So that's that. Right. Whew. But there we go. Delhi still has their general, which is kind of interesting. I say they still have their general, they have another one. They have some incredible generals, but that's what, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of Yenel tradition they've actually managed to maintain. Even their subjects, 5-6-3-2, that's definitely a fire one. But yeah, these are some monster generals over here. That's something you want to be fighting early on. Economy, just a singular loan, but that's probably what they've been trying to pay off. No corruption, they have under a stab, but it's not going to matter too much. So they get into Peasants' War, have enough manpower for their army. Jesus Christ, really underforcing. Have they finished quantity? They have finished quantity, so that'll be it. And now going through economic, once they pop this, that'll be a nice CCR, which is early. Which is good, quite early. Which again, this is early. Timmy is there for them when they want it. Moravi is on their subject, fair enough. Probably don't want to eat this and just want to feed it. Feed as a subject out of Gujarat themselves, so that's nice to see. I like how immediately Gujarat was taken up as a target, although I'm interested to see why Jaipur is getting... Are they actually going to take this land? Not sure why they would, but... They have quite nice borders, but I guess they can. Oh, they're killing, yeah. Makes a lot more sense. They're killing them, so... Yeah. And give them that ultra subject as well. I think the subject will be in a position to form Nepal, but I do believe forming Nepal requires to be independent. Yep, independent. Yeah, they will actually have to form Nepal, that's kind of ironic. But there we go. If they just need to be independent. I quite like tags that you can form which you don't have to be independent, and by that I mean Prussia, that's the only tag you can form which you don't have to be independent for. And Chico in Poland in a player war, is that on purpose? No, I think that's Defender of Faith against Georgia. Yeah, that's a defender of faithful. That's a defender of faithful. Yep. So that's no real war. You are Muscovite conquest of. Oh, lord. Defender of faith, aren't they? No Sweden. They are no Sweden. Wait, Muscovite did Muscovy Dallas? Yeah, they did. That's brave. AI down in play. Well, you don't see that every day. I think that's a bit suicidal for them, though. Probably didn't. They probably looked at Sweden, saw that we have 42,000 men. Sweden does not. Free real estate, but I think they picked their mid-war alliance up, which is fine. They can do that. Sweden on a great power opponent is so. There they go. Quite far off from great power. Brunei actually has entered great power, which is remarkable, but does kind of restrict their alliances to be just eye to eye Brunei. But there we go. Beyond that, yep, some very decent expansion. I mean, that's Arak. What can I say? He's much better at the game than me. Let's put it this way. But yeah, Anthony also running away with the Mazur right there to some extent, but realistically I think he will be coalition, especially in this lobby. Interesting to see how long they're going to stay. I think, are they still truce? They are still truce. It'd be interesting to see if they day one doubt or going to keep that truce around. And there's one other thing I'm looking forward to is I'm going to see when Portugal goes in against Castile here. Portugal has picked up Naples as an alliance. Meanwhile, Savoy has Bohemia, so that kind of discourages both sides going at it, which makes sense. What did Naples take when they beat up the Pope here? Maybe they would just beat up someone else and had to beat up the Pope on the side, but there we go. Empire can actually do reform as well, I believe. No, not quite. Not quite. You probably do actually want this reform. Minus solar rest and Empire promises is quite nice. The others, I mean, a dip rep is nice, but you're never going to get this one realistically. The others, yeah, the players wouldn't care about. Empire promises, institution spread, no one cares for this. Loud internal wars. These are all Empire things. Yep. That's Emperors and that's Electors. The friendly movement speed, no one really. I mean, it's a nice modifier, but yeah. Realistically, you can't really go this far. And local dev cost. Ooh, actually, local dev cost, maybe. I forgot how bad this decentralization is compared to provoking the privilege, but there we are. They'll probably, this will be definitely pieced out sooner rather than later, and Moldavia is subject to Poland. Yeah, they actually got Hungary at the start, but Hungary no longer exists, so I think, yeah, they got the full annexation to get Moldavia for free, which is nice. But there we go. Quite that's the lot of mountain rebels, but yeah, they're just gonna go over there and sort that out. Not exactly an issue, and Oirat taken apart was left with China. Of course, China themselves, Wu separatists will probably break. Oh, it depends. I think that's the only ones who actually occupied, so they were defeated. Or actually, the fact they're at war is saving them. Oh, is the AI going to be smart enough to unsiege that? No, they're going to delete that stack. They're going to also delete that stack that's going to unsiege it. No, they're going to delete everything. I see. Let the AI genius know no bounds. They've deleted the army. That is, it's so amazing. They just had to unsiege this one province to prevent, you know, Wu from breaking. I think, is it just going to be that province or is it going to be all of the Wu cores? Maybe all the Wu cores, because there's actually a decent chunk of Wu cores. Well, not in them anymore, I guess, but there we go. They did actually try and move around to, yeah, secure China for themselves. Fair enough, fair enough. Corruption's growing, you don't say. 0 meritocracy, 9 corruption. Yeah, that's definitely going to break free in 27 months, let's be real here. And hey, Taiwan's a thing. At least that's colonized now. Humanist Taiwan. I love some of these idea choices for the AI, but yeah. Oh, at least there's some expansion going to Cusco now, and oh, that's not looking nice for you. Looking nice, isn't it, for you at all? Oh dear. Maybe I overestimated him. It's not trivial down there at all. It's kind of a hard tank, but it's a good game in that regard. It's a colonial game where you actually gain stuff from the colonial game. So there's no complaints in that regard. But going back to him, he is very much getting informed progress. I understand as well he got into this area late. You can definitely do a lot faster playing as Cusco as the main person, but it is what it is. Wait, Federation. Need to get 3 royal marriages. That's actually pretty nice for Ticon reform progress. But yeah. And do they have some as a subject? They do, I think. But yeah, I think this Cusco Tech 5, they have Tech 5 against Tech 3. Yeah, that's why this is going to be a slaughter. Tech 5 against Tech 3. Yeah. That's your main mistake there, I'm afraid. Even if you're defending a mountain, there's no coming over that much tech difference. Fortunately for you. Yeah, that's a rip. Probably gonna have to reseed him again. Sorry for that single player experience, but yeah, well. Also, there we go, it is, and so we're halfway through that session. Whew. Time still flies relatively quickly, and what was somehow playing back glitches? Not sure what he means, but there we go. Has he got the institution? He has, so that's a good position to start taking up, in which he is doing, fair enough, and slowly but surely picking up the rest of this area. Have a soft sort of a cannonball. I quite like the flag actually, but yeah, it's mostly because of CK3 that I want in that area. Because of that fancy achievement. Got into play that game again, haven't touched that in donkey's years. Well, what the hell has France done? Ah, well, yep, December, and they immediately went in. They also somehow have a core on this? How the hell do they have a core on this? How the hell do they have a core? What? Probably because they've seen the screw you because they had to give up the lowlands, but either way, at least they retained their cores on it, so it won't be too bad. Oh, did they seize land? Oh, rightful ownership event. Yeah, that could. The issue has been inherently disloyal. Yeah, not being a subject is not fun. But that's the real question here. Will win Ning versus Ning? Well, my money's on Ning because they're not in 50 billion ducats of debt, and also they just won the war. But there we go. Ning? Poor Ning. No, they just kind of stuck as Ning. Oh well. Bengal, eat just about everyone who they can get their hands on. Well, who's left to eat AI-wise, and yeah, clean up the rest of their little tributaries. Tributary at a time. Good, nice clean up in that regard. Assuming they can, yeah. AE-wise, no one's going to really care, so that's always good to see. Yep, there goes that one. Oh, they're now subjugated, and they're now subjugated. Okay. So there we go. Right. Going to be a bit of an awkward border, but the amount of subjects tells me that this is a border that Otai is going to continue keeping contested, especially the fact they're well rivaled. don't know if a death wall is in any of them intrigues. I mean, Ayutthaya isn't exactly great mono point wise. Oh dear. And Oirat is definitely going to be looking at this, trying to see it. Well, yeah, a death wall between Bengal and Ayutthaya study is going to be the real winners will be Vijay, Oirat, Delhi, and Brunei. Brunei themselves, well, yeah, they only dip points, I'll tell you that much, but they're approaching finishing quantity and have entered economics, so that's always good to see. Can the same be said for Bengal? Well, 2 away from finishing quantity, so it's always nice to see. They have their dev costs as well once they finish economic quantity for even more deving potential at that point. Basically, free uni, is it not? No, half a uni. I forget how amazing universities are for development. But there we go. That leaves just Mont as a subject, which is what it is. I'm assuming, yeah, they have a claim, so they kind of have to retain this one, otherwise they will immediately go in. So that's probably what you're going to have to live with, which isn't the best, but there we go. Have they been accepting these cultures? No, they have not. They'll probably save a way to save mono points more than anything. Although they definitely have them spare. Come on. I'm looking off looking a bit disloyal, but there we go. Yeah, they definitely can clean this up. No questions asked. Everyone who would care about aggressive expansion is dead, which is kind of the point we're pushing the game. Germany still kind of exists, unfortunately, for all the European players who care about aggressive expansion, especially looking at the Italians. But there we go. Yeah, not going to be a trivial war because France has also integrated all of their subjects now, so they are still nice and sizable. Burgundy, however, is running full quantity, which is nothing to be scoffed at. And France, well, they've opened administrative, which is great. Adam is dying. That is in fairness quite true. Unfortunately, Miltech 3 versus Tech 5 is not the best situation. They did down the wall, which is understandable, but I think that is a death. And realistically, I think that's a reseed and not into Great Horde. Because they're gone now, not into Manchu. That's a reseed into who? Probably into England at this point. Or what's left of it. Yeah. I don't like having England here, but I think it's probably our best bet. I do like the open Germany, but yeah. No, there's no one really left to. I guess Japan. Our main nation fixed Japan. I mean, it's 1486. Nation fixed a poor man's United Japan for it to be a valid reseed. Or even Korea, actually. I think, you know what, no, I think Korea. I'll give them this promise from Manchuria back. But in all fairness, if I do that, it's probably going to put them on the on death door to Oirat. Alright, 57 for summit. What's Korea looking at? 19, no quantity, yeah. No institution as well. That would do it. That would do it. Yeah, probably will have to be Japan, just so the water keeps them safe. Vijayanagar clean up Bahmanis here, zero surprise. Bengal kept to their agreement, I'm assuming, over the trade node and took nothing there, which is understandable. Probably don't want any extra enemies, and we'll at some point be integrating Dan. But I think that's unfortunately Bengal running out of players to eat. Out of AI to eat, which is not a good situation to be in this early on in the campaign, 1487. I mean, yeah, that's the grim reality of it. That's nice, man. Can integrate these people, which... Oh, they integrated last year, so that's nice. Mission-wise, yeah, Brahmins and piety, they can't really do that because the Grand Bengal shipyard's actually really nice for the heavy ship combat ability and ship durability 5% to have if they were to form Nepal, which they can do. Yeah, rip the money, but in all fairness, would you really bother? But there we go. I do want to see if there's going to be any permaclaims on all of this. They don't have the England alliance, ironically enough. Get all the Galicia permaclaims. But the Iberia rooms, yeah. Yeah, Luristani, yeah. King of Spain, not Iberia. No important distinction, I guess you'd say there. So Savoy very much migrated into the Genoese trade route as well. So it's kind of an interesting play. But I mean, I guess it makes sense to go all in on going into Italy, but so much of their core land is really not in Italy. Surprised they retained it, but there we go. I think they left the Empire as well, but I'm not sure if they they did leave as well, which, yeah. But oh god, what a alliance network, Jesus Christ. On a bicycle, that's probably where they haven't killed Saluzzo. So it's definitely where they haven't killed Saluzzo, Jesus Christ. England, Pope City. Well, mostly England. Although actually I'm saying, of course, England isn't exactly the biggest threat on the block. They're still cautiously not taking out Wales. Granted because of the French alliance, and then Northumberland allied with Denmark. I've never seen this one before. What do you mean that's brand new? But in all seriousness, yeah. Interesting choice. Wait, did they take like nothing? What did they take out of the Great Fort? Money, humiliation? They have claims, so they can. Oh, I guess they couldn't really core land off that. I think they can core off their subject Moldavia, so they can core here, but not actually sure. They may not be able to core anything. It's kind of ironic, but there we go. Also, there we go, Danzig now. Finish great turn to that once they get Danzig popped. I believe there's nothing stopping them from British or any Commonwealth. Ah, no, they fed Lithuania too many provinces. Oops. Well, that's awkward. Lithuania's too big. And also Albania exists in, not really Albania, just northern Albania. A bit cursed, but there we go. That's an oopsie daisy. They might have to do a fake war with Sweden or something and give them these two provinces. Just so they can press the button. It's gonna have to be 3. Give up Estonia, just, yeah. I mean, that's the issue. Kind of messed up a bit there, Poland, but oh well. And Bohemia bug. What in the world? Why the hell is Brandon Berg allied with? I'm assuming they're not actually fighting, but okay, Burgundy did break free. Not sure what they took there, but there we go. Yeah, they're not paying for their troops, there's no fighting there. Get a nice ruler. A 0.62, well, just below average. A Sinner is not, it's quite bad though. And yeah, not the very bad monarch point spread. Rest in peace. And there, yeah, unfortunately the Miltech would lead to your death, and there they go. Probably can't have an Inca nowadays actually, because that is a bit permanently messed up. But I think it's a bit late to have an Aztec as well, but it is what it is. I think realistically I can nation fix Japan, but given the amount of player consolidation, we may have to just say, well, subs only from now on. Russia's not strong enough to stand back. No one in Germany is nice enough to unify. Maybe in England, if nation fixed. Or I guess I can put a reasonable person on England who will do said nation fixing, but at this point it's kind of a mess. I don't know if enough Scotland's recovered enough, but leaves things to be desired. God, what? Weak tags. Not much more to say there. Could actually What I might do is actually quote unquote nation fix an island, as in take Nice, give them the rest, constant command annex this stuff. Give them an actual idea set, not diplomatic or something, and seed a player there as a reseed, but that would definitely have to be as a preset confirmation. But there we go. It would also be interesting to have as a colonial tag, actually. No, yeah, maybe island as a colonial tag, just so there's more colonizers instead of just Portugal having the entirety of the New World. Probably want to go take over the rest of Britain as well, but there we are. Depends how much Burgundy will let them do that. Yeah, I think maybe as a reseed have a nation fix Japan, nation fix Ireland. Unfortunately, there's not much more else to go. I think Kill was a bit too much of a late call now with Ethiopia going down there now. Though Moravi with a bit of nation fixing, or you know, Safal or something, can be a tag there. Congo's a bit too late for that as well. When you're already on a high position, they've been there from day one, and they haven't exactly been played badly. I'd say quite the opposite. They've been played quite well. So let's be real. Playing these tags is not trivial. It's not a European tag where you get the institutions for free. But there goes the murder of that state. No surprise there at all. And there we are. It'll be interesting to see who Oirat. It is a cause for Bengal and Aitai to unite against Oirat, Bengal especially. I mean, it's not great land, but if they can grab themselves this, that's defensive terrain against any future Oirats sorted. Realistically, I mean, some of these states, like, okay, Highland, but mountain. Ooh, it's like to see mountain. The state of you, just mountains. Arctic mountains, no less, Jesus. There is that snow, France? There it is. Oh, glacial, yeah. Just absolutely abysmal province to be in. Planet is just god awful. Like, even by mountain standards, just, yeah. But it makes sense, it literally is a glacial province. While you can at least get some theoretical supply into the Afghan mountains, you're not going through Tibet for supply. But there goes those tags. Forgot which tag was there. Probably still Chu, I think. Was it Chu? I think it might be Chu. Yeah, look in the cores, that was Chu. So there's another one popped out. But God, yeah, no. Well, at least Mink's not getting more Red Bulls. That's a lie. He's still bankrupt. They are until 1490, so only 2 years actually. So they may be able to deal with their own rebels, which not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing for it. On the other hand, it's you can get more money. You can get more money out of them every war, but on the other hand, you need more wars to eat them. Wait, no. What's better in that regard? Probably better if they do pop out. Like, yes, you get less money, but you eat them a lot faster. You can start using that land. We're actually really is starting to hit natural boundaries as well once they take Uzbek and eat what's left of Manchu. Well, again, with assuming the Japan seed. Probably will be an Ashikaga and constant command annex everything was. Okay, they've got an influence idea as well. That's their mistake. Also, I'm interested to see if they do subjugate Bohemia, Brandenburg here, are they going to try and get them to form Prussia? Again, it is that tag. It is the tag you can always form despite being a subject. Saying that, does Danzig have the option? No. Weird. But there we go. Should they subjugate? Does Anhalt remain a PU when they subjugate them? Oh, Anhalt becomes. Oh, I see. That's a lot of AE. That's why. Yeah. That would be why you don't take that mission. You don't want to die to AE. What are game rules? Oh yeah, sorry about that. Missed that. There's a document. I can't really go over them like off the top of my head. There's too many to go over. Games are, well, we're halfway through the current session. Starts at 7, ends at 11 BST. We'll be back to GMT as soon as Britain is back to GMT. Though, and yeah, it's every Sunday, but there we go, that is the GC. Whew. Sorry about that, missed that, my bad. If you look at my description, you can find a link to the server which it's hosted on. And there you go. Actually, that reminds me, I need to update the description for this. Because it's not played on patch 1.0, 1.4, it's played on current patch. Which is, funnily enough, the fun hacky patch, but there we go. Yep. Yeah, it is 4-hour sessions, and we also have a seeding rule, so you choose from a list of 8 countries which country you get. Basically, it's not that you go in and say, I want to play Russia today, because for example, this setting we decided to not have a lot of the majors we normally would have. So there's no France, there's no England, there's no Russia, there's no Cologne minus, for example, and they did not take the subjugation. Interesting, they actually just took Newmark here. Subjugation, fair enough, probably leaves them open for the next subjugation, although now Brandenburg's less valuable as a subject. But it is what it is. Right. Yeah, no playables for the first session, so I'm very sad. It doesn't give me too much to talk about, but it is what it is. Another great horde killed by QQ, no surprises there. I mean, that's the large corpse you want to take apart. It looks big, but unfortunately this is not too much dev, so yeah. It's better together when it was all in one tag. Transoxiana did, however, take the nice bite out of it, and ooh, Transox took this. I'm assuming they were leaving this as the Lahore thing for Delhi, but well, at least it gives them now a nice defensive mountain range against Delhi. I say, trying to struggle to find a mountain here. Well, this is, but yeah, the mountains are kind of here, ironically enough. Yeah, if you want your list, if you want your line of mountain forts, there it would be absolutely perfectly. It says the unfortunate reality for him was, I mean, this is a good place for a fort, and so is BAM, but it's actually kind of awkward to defend this entire area. And also Fars is getting murdered by QQ. Oh, but probably not directly, which means that, yeah, Fars is, I'm assuming for border's sake, it's going to go to Hormuz here. I mean, they've been kind of keeping to the trade notes pretty well in that regard, so it is what it is. Right. God, I'm still surprised that England hasn't done anything. Now, at least I think it'll be interesting. Actually, probably will have to give Ireland Scotland as well, as cursed as that will be, the unified Ireland, because just so that they can actually brush down England to prevent Burgundy, but they still have to, spend more points on it. I think that's a fair reseed over there. It's basically the same Scotland player, just weaker as a reseed, because there isn't the Scotland that got it from early on. But to make up for it, that by this point they haven't United England, they haven't United England, so they're gonna have to spend 1 points on it, and they haven't got that early economic growth. But there we go. Yeah, Oirat kind of running with the game right now, but in all fairness, Bengal actually is second great power, just behind Poland. Probably highest on own development, in fairness. Well, there we go to Bengal. In his defense, even though he's out of AI to expand into, he is probably the strongest tag as of right now. Essentially force him, especially without quantity. Jesus Christ. That's actually ridiculously good. Without quantity, that's going to be 100 force limit by the time this is done. He has focused admin as well, which is kind of interesting, but I think that's probably why he's had focused admin. He has to pour so much. He's been having enough mill as well, but yeah. Interesting ruler choice. Well, that's not really a choice, unfortunately, but he's probably not going to chuck that because he's just below average. So, worth it. Running good advisors as well. That's a half price one if I've ever seen one. Yeah, 50% cheaper. Yeah. That's a good one. Actually making a decent chunk of money as well. Oh, not paying for his troops. Yep, can't check how much that would be. Okay, okay. No debt. So far, so very good. Very non-Hindu over there, but it is what it is. Wondering when he'll annex this, if ever, but yeah. Yeah, well, they are they're probably your state provinces. They're probably your state provinces, which is why they're so expensive, and that's why so many people use subjects these days as well, because Last you have the early admin you need to start pushing through both getting admin tech 4 into 7. But yeah, Songhai is definitely going to be playing catch up as soon as they consolidate this area. Definitely will be an idea as well for Songhai to maybe actually pick up expansion here if they can gamble on Portugal keeping them semi-alive so they can get some of their colonists out and just pick up these provinces before Britain arrives. But there we go. Well, it is what it is. Whew. Done nothing with it, I'm tired, it's great. Beyond that, yeah. Bohemia, interesting choices on land. Unfortunately, one thing with all of these eating choices is your trade. I'm not seeing that being in any way good. And it is not. I mean, yeah, they've retained almost no control of the trade. Most of it's been used up, taken away by other people, so that's an issue, especially since trade will be the way you make your ends meet come late game. So that's probably something for them to consider, but if they're just going to have the idea of being the German hegemon and just taking over Germany, that would fix that as well. Is France defending against... Oh god, well that's never a good position, is it? Oh, Castile's in that. Well, in all fairness, with that AI war off, that's probably an excellent... probably an excellent time for Portugal to eat. But there we go. Oh yeah, how is Ethiopia doing? It has been a while in fairness. Well, there's no more gold mines here, unfortunately. I'm surprised he hasn't gone into Mamluks, especially when Mamluks was being QQ'd. I mean, even if it is just to retake the Red Sea coast, it's, you know, I say retake, of course, but yeah. I guess most of the majority of the expansion has been focused south, which is fair. Playing map mode is looking very going south, and it is good land here. You do want to get to that, especially once you get Kilwa and Zimbabwe going for yourself, and hopefully eventually they will get an event to colonize one of these across. 153 admin, yes, but I'm assuming that's a full state, isn't it? Right, let's see, Juma, right? 17 dev, and it's a full call, right? It's a full call. Of course it's going to be 173 admin. Like, this is a good province, even if it is in the middle of Africa. Well, it is actually full stop a good province. I mean, it's grain, so not the best, but it's even an emporium. Like, it's a good province. It's even an emporium. It's long and short of it, but there we go. They released. I do see this tag being released a lot, actually. I'm assuming because they have some cores. Oh, well, not anymore. Or at least they were so small I didn't notice them and then they got fed. It'd be interesting to see that. Have they... Chandler also subject? Yeah. Wow, they actually are going to be able to maybe get away with getting both of these trade nodes on lockdown, Deccan and Corandel. Should be kind of impressive, actually. Like, really impressive. Bahmanis is getting killed by Jampur though, so maybe not too much. And Audi is Delhi will be annexed. Fair enough. Bengal just away from Great Power number 1, which yeah, and also be neck and neck with Oirat. So that's that. Great manpower, but I mean that's a quantity for you. And once quantity is finished, well, that's going to be great for him. With quantity, I mean, I think Ayutthaya has quantity completed, I believe. No, they do not. But yeah, only 47 force summit compared to basically 76. So, you know, I'm back in that fight. Meanwhile, Brunei, I think, has full quantity. Yeah, they have full quantity and they're only equivalent to Bengal, which is kind of ridiculous. I mean, they have 10% morale, but military idea-wise, I think Bengal will have the upper hand. Well, national manpower, but 10% combat ability is nice as well. Okay, just the manpower, but even then, that's nice to have. Very, very well done by Bengal here. This a very well played NP opening, so you know, aggressive eating, good eating, but it's also strong eating. Where throughout the eating you stayed strong. You weren't pushing a country to death to eat as much as possible, which is well. It's a fine line to balance. You can go ham, get 5 billion coalitions and eat to your death. But yeah, that's an interesting war. Reconquest of the Azara. Reconquest of Croatian core. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. They have also integrated Bosnia here, so there we go. Do you want to? Did they not get any town not honoring? I'm gonna say right, but they actually get restoration in Poland, which is. If they're right with Poland, it's actually a really good point. They have a button they can press to get a kill button on Poland. And a subjugation on Saxony, that's remarkable. Of course, this mission as well is great. This mission is one of the reasons that Bohemia is one of those tags where if you go for a super sweaty budget monk style world conquest, you end up forming Bohemia for it. I don't think you can form Bohemia. I think it's you take the 10% that you get from Hungary, then into forming in Austria and so on, and Croatia. Now, if you're wondering why you're forming Croatia, it's for this mission down here with Senate Turks. No, expel the Italians. You get Balkan Liberators. You get 5 years of separatism at the end of the game, which is actually quite good. And there we go. Right. So how is Eu4 doing? Because they actually do have some AI as well, namely the last 2 provinces of Vietnam to eat. I think at that point, however, they're also basically out. I mean, Brunei has food for days, but yeah. Unfortunately, with Bengal definitely going right and not going much into India, this has put the pressure on Eu4, especially their expansion into China being stopped by Oirat, so yeah. There we go. There's definitely a war here, I just don't know if it's going to be this session or the next. Realistically though, I think it was... Well, it depends if Bengal actually has any player allies that can port to this. The issue is, who do they promise? They can try and get a negotiated alliance with the Oirat into Eu4 here. I mean, Oirat, the thing is Oirat though is, why would they fight? They don't need to pick a side here, they can let them fight. And in the meantime they have plenty of Ming and Manchu and Korea to eat. And even some Uzbek bites, but there we go. What are the French done? How are they complaining? Oh, they are losing to this. I'm surprised again, as Portugal here, this is definitely a perfect time to go, hey Castile, how are you doing this fine evening? But there we go. Again, though, saying that, I can see what they're not doing, that they don't necessarily have quantity ideas, and their army isn't exactly existent anyway. Their economy, well, they only have the one bonus, so they were severely in debt, but even then, yeah. Actually, making a decent chunk of trade out of Spain, ironically enough. Because they have 45% of this node, when they really don't have 45% of the production of the node. So, being a drain on the Spanish economy, on the Castilian economy. Huh. Maybe they're draining everyone else's economy, nicking the trade value from other people. Then. Oh, there we go. Have they colonized yet anything? Oh, they're here, they're in the Caribbean, fair enough. Have they got the age bonus? They do, and they have that, yeah. Okay, they're definitely. Just need to get Renaissance and then aim pop a golden age, even though they shouldn't this early. But yeah, at least Songhai's most consolidated what's left of this. Just Benin, which ironically enough is the only one that is probably contestable. It's allied with Congo, yeah, that would probably be why it's an awkward one to get. Enough to run advisors? Oh, they definitely are running advisors, yeah, they're definitely getting the monarch points. It's just hard to do. Oh, QQ and Poland, this is Defender of Faith again, isn't it? Oh, Kill of Ottomans. Oh, well, that's an interesting war to go into because QQ actually probably could, if they can be bothered, defend the Ottomans here. But I don't think they will. No, if they will. Well, good to see achievement still, whatever it be. But hopefully it involves you catching up on tech. After all, your ideas actually aren't too bad. You have your 5% discipline, you have infantry common ability, you have your army tradition, which isn't bad. You even have morale, so when there's a bit more morale there, you definitely could be going for one of the better tanks. There's no manpower though, which is kind of the issue because the current meta revolves so much around manpower. But there we go. But we might get an entire session out without a single player, real player. Will be a shame. They're gonna be in that disaster forever, aren't they? Oh, I see. I think no. Yeah, definitely confirming his stream sniping. But yeah, okay. I see what he's gonna do. He's gonna go into Congo there. It's a bit ambitious because at this point you have to see, well, if I eat too much, I'm going to become a target for people like Ethiopia, aka people who figured out what their technology is. And I'm hoping they just pick this because they don't have the admin, and they're just holding this for events. But even then, you'd probably put religious for events. I really hope Broken Photo isn't actually going humanist. Right? Won't be the first time idea I've seen, but there we are. Tormus, yeah, kind of quote unquote took in the wrong order, but that's because AI, I think, took it. Or Adam V did, but there we go. Not that it matters too much. They didn't exactly get foreign economic, just got a delayed quantity ideas in essence. But hey, fancy order. And a harvest failure, which is never ideal. But there we go. Yeah, Bengal kind of nowhere left to expand to. I mean, they can eat a bit of Jaipur here, but that's just going to draw the wrath of Moses, which is the last person needed. They have enough enemies, as it were. Ironically enough, they could probably try and ally like a glitch if they want to go into Oirat. But the issue with that is it makes Oirat an enemy, and yes, it gives you better defensive terrain against Oirat, but you'd rather not have them as an enemy. The one thing you do have as an enemy now is Ayutthaya for good, as Bengal. So it's kind of an awkward position where you have a predetermined enemy, but you have no confirmed. Oh, you've rivaled. Okay, you have confirmed Indian rivals as well. Yeah, not the best position to be in, but there we go. Why are you complaining again? What has the AI done to you this time? Did he get the Habsburgs? Oh, he got the one Habsburgs. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, because he didn't have an heir, so yep. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Purge the one Habsburgs. How did this map out looking? I don't know what I'm looking at. That is terrifying. The fact that this is the same color really doesn't help. Half these people are republics. I mean, these dynasties don't matter, but there we go. Yeah, that's going to be a horrible one Habs. It's a one Habsburg as well, isn't it? God, the one Habsburgs actually are spreading to a rate of absurdity, but there we are. Well, the closer we get to a player war, of course, I was going to say it's going to be the Ottomans here, but they seem to be getting absolutely slaughtered. And even pocket Golden Age. Well, they're going to start going into debt here. Yeah. Administrative ideas. I mean, it's not a bad choice, it's the Ottomans. It's more core creation cost, improving 45% overall, but I'm not going to help you win this war against Poland. Not the air knows that, of course, but yeah. It's going to be the end of that. Ottomans also not have a great power. Ayutthaya up there. And Oirat taking over Bengal and Poland. Very, very tight race up there. One thing I actually do want to check, because I haven't checked that in a while, is how is everyone's score doing? And it's Vijayanagar followed by Bengal. Bengal will be slowly but surely taking over Vijayanagar. I'm not sure that's enough rate to actually take it over in any substantial manner. Bengal being second administrative is a bit of a scary concept as well. Oirat military, yeah, that would do it. And yeah, Poland top admin, makes sense. But yeah, score. I think they were higher before. But there we go. The only two people with their cards so far, I believe. Yep. Yeah, they're trading cards on each other. Actually, Sweden has a chance to get this card. Burgundy has a card on Savoy. That's unfortunate. Portugal probably will get this card if they can be bothered. That's a good card for Ethiopia to get, ironically enough, Mecca. Bengal got their card. Unfortunately, the next one won't be so easy. Same can be said there as well. Still haven't got this card, which is a bit on the ironic side. That's probably why they're integrating their subject. And VJ's had this card for a while inside them. But there we go. It's actually prospering. Again, yeah, Eu4 not going to have that one. And ooh, well, in all fairness, the presence of that card may be the leverage that Brunei Bengal need, because if Brunei wants the state for the card, well, Bengal has things to offer it. Bengal most definitely wants to get themselves into Burma. Not sure they split the land over there, but there we go. Oh, they're actually fighting. Okay. Interesting. While I take that back, it seems going to turn into an actual player war then. Wow. They're going to decide to defend the Ottomans here. Interesting choices. QQ saving the Ottomans. I mean, they were in that war. Not sure what they get out of it apart from I'm bored, but there we go. Probably a slaughter of these 16,000 Lithuanians. Jesus Christ, that is a slaughter of... Oh god, Craven increased serfdom. Yeah, that would do it. What is it with Poland being in a death for every 5 minutes? They have the manpower for it if they actually want to fight, but realistically their best bet maybe aren't enough to actually... Never mind. Just gonna make them pay more for that. Understandable. Got excited there for a moment. Got excited there, but oh well. Yeah, I'm not surprised why Castle's getting murdered by Portugal here. They don't have the capacity to do so. Actually, I mean, if they call in Aragon, maybe that would be the case. Navarre has actually grown, cursed. As cursed as it may be. I think Aragon probably sold in that province or something, but there we go. Well, best of luck for Tageto there. Hormuz looking nice and naming, but yeah. I think Hormuz will probably have their eye on Mecca, which is going to be an issue if Ethiopia serves up pursuing their cards. If they're not, well, can't force people to do that. After all, they play for fun. But there we are. Right. Remarkable that Oresh is actually making decent chunk of money from trade. But again, yeah, there's no strong force in Samarkand. I mean, really ununited trade here for Yarkand existing. And they're not strong enough to suck that trade, so too big for that. Oh, and they're not even aware of that node's existence, I don't think. No, they're not. So they can't even get a merchant in there. That would be huge if they could get a merchant in there, honestly, for them. That is the issue though with this kind of area. You kind of, in the ideal world, when you take over Asia, you want Persia because it's one of the few places you can quote unquote make your trade end up. I mean, even in this weak situation, just the amount of local and incoming trade with Persia just for existence is kind of impressive. Okay, granted it's mostly from Basra, but there we go. Right. We're getting to 1492, and we're also But yeah, I think Bengal's probably the first person to hit the point where he's out of AI to eat. I think everyone else still has places to expand, with the exception perhaps of Savoy and what the hell, of course they have Milan. Oh, I forgot about that, those cursed borders. Or whatever the hell was going on there. Well, it seems that Naples has Rome, so there they go with the occupation of Rome, triggered modifier, I believe. Not the history of Naples, who cares? Occupation of Rome, yeah, that's not the best idea, but there we go. I mean, it's dev at this point. Fortunate reality, because St. Peter's Ballistica is so dodgy to use because you need to be Catholic to use it. And it gives you loads of amazing curia buffs, but you're never going to be able to actually use that unless you pray Pope. Doing Venice here, which is probably a fair shout. How are they doing on ideas? Quantity and economic, and now with dev cost also present, so good. I believe they will get, yeah, that morale as well, which is nice for them. Meanwhile, Savoy, a bit more behind, but no rush. And the administrative is just there. How is Bengal doing? Okay, one away from finishing quantity, and actually getting to the point making any economic idea. Under Golden Cap, have they solidified everything? They kind of have actually, which is impressive. They also, for some reason, have a core here. How the hell they have a core here defeats me. Oh, Bakhmanis is Hindu, so when they were fighting that, they got a free core. Yep. Rain has engaged, and I'm aware that's one of the events you can get. And they've Seek. They got Seek. Fair enough, you can see the old UI for that. See, I can't deselect, by the way, just before you run. Yeah, monthly, I have a monthly mail, just God. What a religion. And now, of course, they have, I believe, the... What is that trait? Ah, religious zeal, yeah. Mission set for heretics and mission maintenance, and save the burning world, which means, yeah. Very Seek very quickly. Although, wow, that's steady going very Seek very quickly as well. Yes, you do. You want as many non-Sunni provinces as possible, because if they're fetishists, you can get more manpower out of them. Well, let's double check actually. Dhimmi. Yep, modified Dhimmi conscription. Yep. Everything you want to be as fetishist as possible. You will, of course, probably want to get your tolerance up somehow as well, because you don't want to be seen as religious unity. Although, saying that, that's what Dhimmi is for as well. As ironic as it may seem. Yeah. You don't want heretics. But that would be, yeah, absolutely insane for you. Actually have positive tolerance to them, we should keep your religious unity up. I believe they have gone Sunni here, okay, not Ibadi or Shia, but there you go. I think that may be a bit of a mistake there, telling that everyone. But if they are... Godzilla, God, which tag is that? I've been blind. Godzilla QQ. Month before war. Oh god, that's a cursed Astracan. For QQ. Yeah, fair. People really like their cursed borders, don't they? God, they really do. Well, at least it gives me hopes that war is coming, but there we go, yeah. People do like to spend the first couple of early sessions promising the world in terms of, yes, fighting ability. But we'll have to see how much people can actually deliver on that. I mean, Oirat can look fancy, but when it comes to actual... Well, they finish quantity in fairness. But yeah, for some at least things to be desired. I think they've burnt a bit too much, arguably. There's no shame in harm in doing that too much. Oh, except the Uyghurs. The Uyghurs, I believe, is the correct term of that, but there we go. Yeah, actually, there's gold provinces here. So one thing I know is very badly is the gold provinces outside of Europe. Namely, very few. There's only one in India, which is kind of pathetic. There is this one in Yarkand and yeah, this one here. And Japan gets 2, which they discover. Which is probably pretty good for balance reasons, otherwise that would be kind of a good, you know, free run away the game. But yeah, let's be real here, the majority of the goals in the New World. Well, okay, this looks because it's undiscovered gold, but yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gold. If you're focusing on this side. 1, 2, 3 and so on high, which is more than enough. Actually 1 here up north if you count this as part of Africa, even though, well, it is part of Africa, but it's a more European domain. Yeah, I mean, sure, the gold here is great as well, but let's be real here. The real location of the gold is the Mexico stake. It's just all gold. I just love this as a concept. It's just all gold. Even a bit more south of it, it's just gold. And hey, max out dotted line. Surely you want Doom to be high? Am I missing something? Don't you want Doom to be high? Have 5 vassals, Doom less than 50. Oh, you want. I need to look at that mechanic more. I mean, if they start with this level 3, which is I'm assuming the only way they can get, that's actually really strong. And that minus 6% construction cost is kind of nice to have, especially the dev cost as well and the gold province, but there we go. And actually that's 25 local dev cost because provinces in the area get 5% as well. Go modifier leaves things to be desired, however, unfortunately, but there we go. Right. Ooh, Delhi QQ War. That's Delhi conquest of Jaunpur. That's got to be Defender of Faith. Oh yeah, that's got to be Defender of Faith. Damn it, getting excited. It could be an actual war, but that's Defender of Faith. Is it not? That's Defender of Faith. Yeah. Well, they tried. How much trade powder is actually about 60. God, it all goes into Derb as well. Making them rich off it, but there we go. Yeah, they need to upgrade a lot of the trade centres and actually build markets to be able to retain a lot more of their own money. It's the grim reality of it. Yeah, first 12 months they would not accept that, but there we go. And hey, another day, another name beat up. Doesn't this take them out of, No, it does not. Okay. This does give me the opportunity to check, however, is how much money can they take out of them? Because they're still quite fancy, so their loan sizes, yeah. Another bankruptcy worth the money out of the Ming and the Strait, which is kind of impressive, but yeah. Definitely the thing that's keeping the all-out war machine going. To at least some degree. Yeah, what we'll actually start substantially again is as soon as Yarkland is large enough to nick trade, which it is now, so I'm not sure why the glitch isn't doing that, because that would actually give him a decent chunk more income. But there we go. Yeah, that would actually give him a decent chunk more income if he presses that button, but people can miss it. There it is. How are we doing at time? Time for me to get a watch right, but there we go. No, still got well over an hour to go. Whew. That sounds bad. I'll trust the person who DM'd me on the thing, yes, but it'll have to be next session. There we go. Right. Well, that's all fun and games, my bad. And god, yeah, no mandate name is a slaughter. I like how Ryuku remains their last subject. But realistically, they gotta be slightly against Doyle. Oh, they actually still are. God. Demanded additional tribute. God knows they need Oh, there we go. Right. Songhai is going in against Berlin, which I believe Gives them that in on Congo as well, so it'll be interesting to see if they go for it now or not. Looks like they are going to go for that. Good to see. And yeah, slowly but surely been flipping everything fetishist to get that manpower from Odini. Best thing to do, what else can I say? They are out of manpower, ironically enough, so probably for the best if they do that. Are you gonna flip this? Well, we can hope. Oh my god, what the hell happened there? That's my player wall. That's my player wall. Bohemia, Savoy, Naples. Yeah, okay, I can see what's going on here. Naples, Bohemia against Savoy, and Savoy allied with Burgundy, who has not honoured the call to arms. And a quick DC. This happened after unfortunately continue. And we'll probably have a quickly go double check if that's a crash or not before we get back to the main event. Hi Remy, is that a crash?
Help.
Is that a crash, Remy?
Yeah, I crashed.
Okay, shall we pause or how quickly do you think you need to reload?
Pause.
I just.
Yeah, I should load fast.
Okay. Well, you meant to have the element of surprising more, which is why this one time I'm actually, I'll normally pause, but this kind of jeopardizes the people trying to get the element of surprise in the war. I believe. So yeah, I'm hoping that the AI doesn't manage to kill your country in the 5 seconds that it's on it. Well, it hasn't counted your economic ideas or espionage ideas yet, so so far so good. We're making progress there.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
They have taken corruption, unless did you have corruption?
Yeah, I've had corruption.
Okay, in that case they did not take corruption. In all fairness, there was one corruption, which means they couldn't take the corruption. So that's, so far so good. They also have not deleted your army. So, we're making progress. But there we go.
Yeah, I just sent in a request.
Yes, you have. Perfect. Yeah, no worries, crashes happen.
Oh, wait, where's Bohemia?
Quickly, so there we go.
Which room is Bohemia?
Anyway, best of luck in that war for
Yeah,
you.
it's a good point. This is the first hot join, and it's been 3 hours.
Yep.
That's very impressive.
This is the first hot join. This is actually
Don't
really
be 3
good.
hours yet, don't jinx it. It's been 2 hours 55 minutes.
Sorry. This just proves that Nakam is not actually terrible.
No, I think the calm is more unstable initially, but if you get going, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, I say good. Paradox relativity.
Lemon, don't look at
I've
India.
heard people have gone.
I consistently look at India.
But that requires me to.
The borders are beautiful.
I actually do like the borders in India. In fairness, apart from your borders with Delhi, they kind of need a bit of work. Why don't you do a quick wall sort that out? There we go. Right. All players have arrived. That's my favourite amount of players to have arrived. And off we are. Right, was that going to be Burgundy honouring the call to arms though? No, it doesn't look like it. Meanwhile, not looking great for Naples either. 204 quantity, and they have just built their army somewhere, and they're gonna go for it. And that's a good time to get a stab. They're getting a -1 for, capital terrain, although they are significantly outnumbered here, unfortunate for them. But, okay. Savoy is going to endure in that battle. Oh, I'm not sure if you had reinforced here. They have no morale there. It's maybe just more lands to slaughter. They do win here, but that is a win for Savoy, and they're going to go in immediately afterwards. Not consolidating beforehand. Ouch. But Milan is going in themselves. Go on, Milan, free up your own land. They can also, Milan would be the one siding out here. However, not looking good. I think they're going to have to lose that. Or will they? They may get there in time. I think they get there in time. And I think with that 7 roll, they defended. Good start, good start. Okay. Fortunately, when it comes to player allies, Naples, I mean, they have Portugal, but what's Portugal going to do about it? And so what is Bohemia? Meanwhile, Wait, Savoy's the one going in alone. They must have a deal with Bohemia where they're not going to fight this. Surely. I mean, Portugal probably is the best they can hope for at this rate, but there we go. Well, there we go, that's a death war, at least with full quantity ideas, so we can see a bit more Italian death war apart from... Oh, we're out of manpower, but there goes the war. Which, in fairness, has almost already happened. They have no slackenings to speak of, both on Miltech 8. Pre-Tech 9 wars, and Tech 9 is too far for both of them to consider. But if they did pick it up, that would be absolutely huge. Because tactics, combat width increase, and new infantry, which, let's be real, have most of the time, really is infantry time. They actually have some cannons, which is interesting choices, especially since I don't know if they have enough for a full front row. Well, they do, but cannons only will make themselves useful here more than 24,000 in the battle without them. So you need 30,000 in a battle for the cannons to matter. At which point you'd rather have infantry, and cannons are expensive, let's not forget that. Interesting choice from Milan here, this would probably be a slaughter by Savoy, just to walk up north into that. Casual Milan taking one-on-one fights with Geneva, 1k versus 1k, that's the real excitement we're here for. Is QQ actually gonna... Okay, just double checking if they managed to cheekily join a war I missed. But okay, yeah, but completely expected here. No surprise to anyone. Meanwhile, they themselves are getting a nice siege on Firenze with the cannons, I'm assuming. No, not with the cannons, because if we build cannons, I already ever use them for sieging that. God, that makes too much sense. But there we go. Unfortunately, that 30k here now freed up with that is going to be a fat 40,000 on the battle here. And that is going to be a -1 for them. And they do see the stack coming. And so, yeah, they're going to walk off that fort. Which is fair, they don't want to take that fight. Question is, what fight would they want to take? They have very little, I mean, they have a lot of mountains, but they have no mountain forts. Just a fort in these two places would serve you to no end. Would unironically say, yeah, honestly get rid of this one and build a fort here. Although, yeah, Battle Pope, not quite Battle Pope, probably just the General, actually do. I know there's a war going on, but I just do want to double check. Yeah, that General. That was the Battle Pope, I would have been incredibly impressed, but yeah. Okay, they're going to go up north here. They kind of are split up their troops, not the best idea, this can be slaughtered here now. Most likely will be actually, especially with Milan kind of badly existing over there. I mean, they've got almost 50,000 here. Surely they will take this fight. It's 2-1. But this stack is starting to come over there. They will be defending a hill, which is something, and Milan is not trivial, even as a subject. They really need to stick Milan on Attacher, on supporter, and make a 1k stack for them to attach to. Like this one. Just set this one to be the only one we can attach to, and set both Toulouse and Milan to be supportive. Toulouse and Miltech 7, of course. Ah, Toulouse with the defensive ideas, yes. Their 3 men will have high morale. But yeah, almost 60,000 there. Literally 57,000. 7.2. Really want to take the fight in the hills here, but I'll definitely start moving on to Pavia and just sitting there being annoying. They have not pieced out Portugal, they have not pieced out Bohemia. The issue in that, of course, is that I believe Bohemia has their own subjects. They're not. Yeah, Croatia. Croatia's going to start walking over there and doing stuff. Once they piece out the Ottomans. Portugal also has Clemenza, which isn't much, but it's still not a non-trivial amount. I say non-trivial, actually. A trivial amount, yeah, fair. Still subjects to subjects. And if it was an Austria with a Hungary P, for example, that you definitely want to be piecing them over. But there we go, an actual war for our first time in 3 hours. There we go. And currently we're starting to have a nice attempt at World War I snooze tactics. They're just staring at each other. I'm not sure why Savoy's not taking the fight here. Are they trying to get Tech 9? I mean, there's no way, surely. Or are they waiting for morale or something? They can't be. Depressing the I think Naples actually has that as an opportunity if the war goes on long enough. Yeah, they can take economic here. 2 more in economic and pick up the 10% morale, which will not be trivial. I mean, stat-wise, looking at 3.4 morale and 100 discipline versus 105 discipline and 3.9. So Savoy even has the quality advantage. I just don't know why they're not pushing here. They really should be taking that opportunity to push. I guess the idea is they can out-bankroll them. But that's not true. They're both just going to go bankrupt staring at each other. And meanwhile, they are going to be slowly but surely losing ground to all the random meme subjects going over there and sieging stuff down. I mean, Burgundy especially, sure they're in the, not in the war, okay. They're not in the war, that's honest to lose. I was going to say that. Like one of their subjects, but there we go. We've got 66,000. How are they not doing anything with it? Well, let the staring contest continue. Okay, they're gonna start making their first push into here. Interesting with that is that they can also walk onto the farming fort. Now Naples does have the age bonus of adaptive combat terrain. Does none of that the Savoy. I mean they do, but their adaptive combat terrain is the mountain, which is nice in the mountains, but does basically mean this is a hill as far as defending this goes. Or are they going to go fight over here? Yeah, they probably will actually go relieve that. Let's give the opportunity to Naples actually try and get some occupations going if they're going to move off. Go to Florence yourself, but we'll see how that goes. Oh god, Poland, what did you do? Why did you not take concept? Okay. Are you going to release Byzantium? The classic reconquest trick? Or no? Okay. England. Okay, they finally killed Wales, so that's something. But there we go. Right. Oh, Portugal made it in. Okay, that's something. I mean, once they're done with Tunis, that does free up a lot of them. Looks like they are going to go for Tunis after all. You see what they take. Probably will be just taking coast to screw people over. Although I'd like to respect Tunis for Portugal for so far keeping nice borders at least. Probably do something like that. Although that does bring the Ottomans into coalition. Not that it matters too much. It kind of does. I think Ottomans have still got a decent chunk of bite to them. Yeah, 42,000. I do want to see when that war ends, where that goes. And hey, we came back just in time for a battle. Naples is taking that +1. While on that siege, okay. Forcing Naples for an early reinforcement here. But yeah, they leave the battle, unfortunately. Yeah, that might leave Portugal in for a world of trouble. And Portugal get out, okay. Granted, it was just 8,000 men, but there they go. Reaching all the way to the Platinum. Well, that's one way. Oh, the Platinum in this war as well, are they? They are, okay. Unfortunately, it's AI, so it's relatively nice to piece out, but so nice to have them in. I'm not sure how much military capacity Platinate are providing, but it's basically another subject worth of people. Literally 3k men, okay. Well, not trivial. Is a strong word, it seems, but there we go. We are also in the last 100, so, last hour, so there we go. We're also the 100. Jesus God, imagine that. Hey, we're starting to look nicer, and oh, did I miss that? I did miss that. I did miss that. Thank God I looked over here. Oirat and Aitai in a war. Brunei in that war against Oirat. And Bengal standing idly by. Interesting choice. This should be the perfect time for him to hit into Aitai, surely. Korea is not a human. player. Do not tell me Korea is a human player, I swear to God. And there we go. I think it's more or less a player where it's sending you that heads up, but there we go. Surprised he's not going for it. He can Great Power Intervene on the side of Oirat, ironically enough, so... that would be interesting. Yeah, I started paying for this fort, but I think it's just him keeping his border forts paid for against enemies. Yes, also doesn't want to go fight in a war that's going to reach him against Delhi. Or going against Vijayan against Saitai here is actually really good for him. Whereas is going to go in relatively blind as well, so that means they have to be incredibly careful. Any province they walk into can be a slaughter, and they're having to attack into the mountain here, which means... yeah, they don't see there's a battle about to be here, so let's look at it from their perspective. They're sitting, and they're sieging, and suddenly... yep, okay, they were keeping a track on it, but of course they don't see this province. So that means, yeah. Shock phase, they at least hold their own, but... yeah. Will this be enough? We'll find out. Oh, it actually will be, Jesus Christ. You're on a mountain. No, it was not. From their perspective as well. Okay. Not looking great, but let's check back in with our European Death Warriors. Yeah, not looking great for Naples. Well, that's a bit early to uncon. But there we go. Who downed this? Alright, downed this. With what CP is the better question. But yeah, no, I mean, Itai doesn't have much in terms of manpower here. Oirat, however, doesn't have too much either. Yeah, attacking to mountains will be a bit of a problem. Bengal sit on the sidelines here. Again, I would argue that this is a good time for him to go in, but she's got that dev cost, so probably wouldn't want to. Also, next institution coming up, I think Portugal's almost guaranteed to spawn it. I think actually Castile has got exploration as well. Okay, they also have a chance to spawn it. Maybe Brittany. No. Okay. But yeah, that's not looking good for Naples at all here. They're gonna go all in. But they're not gonna win that in time. And I think, yeah, once the reinforcements arrive, that's it. Which means there goes that siege of Montferrat. And there goes basically the entire Italian campaign. What will they take? God knows. But probably Italy. They actually can't even take too much, but enough to be their main Italian person without a coalition. But there we go. Yep. Anyway, to check back in with our Oirat friends. Been a bit more cautious now, taking the island while they can, which is surprising they let them do that with their navy. Also burning down Korea in the local vicinity. Why not? They actually picked a decent chunk of they have a farm and fort to work with. Although the jungle is not great for them. Delhi, unless you make a white peace, or they will join against you. Ooh. That is a thing they declined, and Delhi's in the war. Well, now I have to say that's probably why Bengal did not want to go into that. That definitely keeps the status quo, and that's the coalition against a runaway. What we're looking at. It depends if Delhi will actually bother fighting this, and given they're marching over there, the answer seems to be a resounding yes. Oh, there we go. So, let's play everyone's favourite game. Can't really do it on this side because they don't know what land is, but if we'll do an Ayutthaya, what can we demand for this injustice? Well, probably all our land back. By all, I mean just huge chunks of China. look at these chunks of China. Definitely get their victory card in the process as well. It's also approaching the 1500s, so next victory card and next institution will be up and coming. So there we go. Most is coming in and actually building some more troops around 50,000. Yeah, okay, most is at 100k. Is a scary amount, but still outperformed by Bengal if they wish to push the force. And Bengal also 88,000 manpower cap. Very respectable, good to see. I'm wondering when he's going to start deving though, but yeah, he still has a lot to go through that. 5 more ideas. So now the 2,000 worth odd more admin to work through, but there we go. At least we're finally get a war, and it is an early war. Insinuate or Identity, are they that confident that, okay, they stole maps now, so they can actually... Are they that confident they can fight, or do they think that Delhi won't bother actually fighting? I mean, they're sort of fair concern. But there we go, right. Well, they're certainly going for it, a bit low on the manpower, but they have a decent chunk to slacken through. I've gone in actually almost finished the economic, which is kind of absurd. But there we go. So they're on the jungle, so... Okay, not going to take that siege. Where is their war goal? Oh, sure, superiority. What the... Oh, tribal conquest, I believe. Yeah, most probably. I know my hordes very badly. Well, the one thing they do make up for all that is some pretty nasty generals. Jesus Christ. You know, who needs fire pips when you've got 6 shot pips on a 100% cavalry army, give or take? I mean, they can have 100% cavalry army. I don't know why they have the... I think that's just so they can assault, but... I'm not sure why they have this cosmetic 1k infantry. I would like to find out why they have the cosmetic 1k infantry actually. Why would you not just have 100% cavalry armies with cannons? Yep, took the discipline guy. Yeah, no surprise there. And also, wow. I mean, the quality is a bit of a monster here, let's not deny that. Unfortunately, Delhi is time to arrive, and that's going to be an issue. Brunei is here as well. This is a lot of people to go through. And Ayatai is well aware of that 22k stack as well. More Yeti Combat Decay. I didn't realise this was here. That's actually pretty good, Jesus. There's a lot of Yeti Combat Decay buildings here. Didn't realise that was here. I mean, more minimum autonomy territories is never bad. Oh, and there's the Delhi army giving chase. Also kind of quote-unquote cut off here by Ayutthaya. They are on a jungle, but that's going to hurt their shock capabilities. They're still in hills. Yeah, this is all rough terrain, which is not ideal at any point. I think they're going to go for this fight here, though. Yeah, they are. They combine into one. Yeah. It is a -1, but they have the pipe advantage. Shock phase is brutal because of that, but yeah, unfortunate for them. I think they're going to get there in time. Depends if they burnt this, and I don't think they have. Which means, yeah, Delhi will get there in time, most likely. If they're going to go for the battle, which for some reason they're not, walk it into that Delhi. That's a bit of a backstab. Interesting, interesting. Or I could clearly see the Delhi troops there, so brave for him to go into that battle. Maybe a good idea to give up this fort and then fight in farmlands here. Can't believe I'm saying this way, farmland fort OP, question mark. But there we go. Anyway, well, oh, they're gonna go for this. Bad idea. No, don't do that. You've also non-consolidated against fresh Delhi troops on a... No, that's gonna go terribly for you. Not with those rolls, Jesus. Not if you roll a 9. Jesus Christ. Take that back. You should still consolidate, but unlucky reinforcement ticks from